like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And a happy Friday to everybody out there in America's finest city. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Going into do you consider it a holiday weekend if Tuesday is the holiday?
Yeah, more or less.
It's probably a holiday weekend. How many people have Monday off, too? We do not have Monday off. We
not
have
us.
the Craig Stammen press conference on Monday.
That's kind of like having Monday off.
And then we have
honestly.
Tuesday off. So it's kind of like a holiday weekend, I guess. On Tuesday, I will be, everybody's off Tuesday. And then I have a speaking arrangement with the Scripps Ranch Old Pros on Tuesday. That should be fun. I was told by many of Old Pros to be ready with some counter blows on the S-Talk that you get from the Scripps Ranch Old Pros. So we'll see how that goes. Should be a fun time at Kaminsky's on Tuesday. Again, Monday, 10 o'clock in the morning, we will be airing the press conference as Craig Stammen officially gets introduced as the manager of the San Diego Padres. And I can't wait to hear what he has to say, because that's part of the, winning the press conference kind of deal. And the more you look at it and the more you talk about and seeing all the reports and everything that came out with Craig Stammen, everything that was said, the most important part of this, again, as I mentioned all day yesterday, is what the players' reaction was. And we got to hear some of the players' reaction with Joe Musgrove, not only on social media, but he was then on Gwynn and Chris. So we're going to play that later on in this hour. But to talk about, here's how great of a person he was. Now, here's a couple of things. Like I heard Darren Smith talking about this on Ben and Woods earlier today. It's being able to take off that player's hat and put on the we're part of the organization now hat. And so I think he's going to be able to transition to that very, very well. But he was the guy. I mean, when you talk about a clubhouse, every time that we've talked about leadership as they have built this new era of Padres baseball, and I really want to talk about it from the standpoint of when this ownership took over, the Seidler family, with Ron Fowler back in 2014, 2013, this is the era that has started this run of actually successful Padres baseball. And in this particular run, the questions over the last, handful of years, especially the early years, was having to develop a Padres way, but also a sense of leadership from the clubhouse, which you didn't have because you didn't have leadership type players part of the team. And during that timeline, part of that leadership and the conversation was it needs to be a position player. It needs to be a position player. Why? Because pitchers usually aren't the leaders of teams. They're very few and far between. Everybody talked about, Joe Musgrove could be a leader. I think he leads in a lot of different capacities. But again, it's hard when you start every 5 days. That's the narrative out of a lot of clubhouses. I think Joe Musgrove does a great job of representing the San Diego Padres from a perspective of being a kid from San Diego. I think a lot of fans listen to what he has to say because they know where he comes from and how much it matters to him. But he's a pitcher. And I think the same thing can be said when you start talking about like leaders. Everybody's talking about Manny and Fernando. It doesn't have to always be the best player on the team. It's the one that leads by example. And for a lot of those years, Craig Stammen was their leader. Not only was it crazy enough that he was a pitcher in the leader, but he was a relief pitcher. I mean, the last time they talked about a relief pitcher that was everybody's favorite teammate that could help lead a team, it was Trevor Hoffman. That's what everybody said about Trevor Hoffman. Trevor Hoffman probably could have been a great manager. He has no interest in being a manager, though. And now you have an opportunity to see it with Craig Stammen. I think it goes a long way. I think the biggest question mark for this managerial hire going into this process was, we have these star players that need to perform at a high level. How can we get these star players to perform at an incredibly high level? That's the conversation. And so when you look at all the candidates, and I mentioned this a lot yesterday, I'm not going to continue to, talk about it. Craig Stammen is the guy that's part of this organization that all of the players that he played with looked up to as a player. He was their rep. He was their rep, their players' rep, to represent the clubhouse with ownership, to represent the clubhouse with the potential meetings and stuff with the Players Association. He was the guy. So he's done a good job leading and representing everything like that. So from that perspective, the clubhouse is going to be excited. And the players are excited to play for Craig Stammen. That, to me, was the biggest jumping point for this managerial hire. That's why the candidates that they had, it made a lot of sense for who they were interviewing. I think that is still more important than any type of managerial experience. And not one of the finalists had any managerial experience at the major league level. So you've won over the clubhouse. I think with the way that the pitching staff, or should I say the coaching staff of the pitchers shapes up, I think this is the best time to have this kind of group together, because you're looking for, as free agency opens today in Major League Baseball, you have to look for a lot of arms. And you've spent a lot of money, and there's no guarantee that the Padres are going to spend enormous amounts of money. I mean, we went over the Forbes thing. They are already investing the majority of their revenue into the baseball team. And so with that, there are some plays that they have to make on the margins. And when you make those plays, you have to make it right. And a lot of the times, you can make it right with a good coaching staff. If you bring in, we threw out Chris Paddock's name the other day. I don't think the Padres are interested in Chris Paddock. Maybe they are. Who knows? But he is one of those guys that had a lot of potential, hasn't really performed to his full potential, is not going to cost a lot of money, and maybe with a couple of tweaks and the right coaching from Niebla, and a guy like Craig Stammen, who was on his team in San Diego, and with Ben Fritz, you could get the most out of a guy like that and not have to pay a lot of money. He was just an example in terms of name. But those are the type of names that you're going to have to go find. You're going to have to take some risks. Maybe you give Johnny Brito a chance for the starting rotation. Maybe you give, maybe a little bit more with Randy Vasquez makes it a little bit better. So don't mind it from the pitching perspective. And again, the way that he's going to manage a bullpen. When people talk about managers in managing a game, some people criticize the lineup. I mean, we got to a point where seeing Luis Arraez bat second every day was a little head scratching. But for most of the time, when you're talking about managing, what's the biggest complaint out of all fans when it comes to managers? It's how they manage the bullpen. What better guy than a guy that was a former bullpen pitcher mixed with Ruben Niebla, who's done a great job as a pitching coach, and Ben Fritz? I mean, you're lined up for success from the pitching side of things. And what still wins in the playoffs, even though the Padres do need to go get some slug, what still wins in the playoffs is pitching and defense. Mostly pitching. And the Padres need to be able to find ways to get as much out of their pitching staff as humanly possible. And that's why, again, I think this is another good hire. Again, the more you look at it, the way the process went about, the way that the players have gravitated toward Craig Stammen, that's the part that matters the most. Is what the players think. I said that yesterday, and someone's like, well, not us fans. No, at the end of the day, whatever the fans are clamoring for, it's what those guys, the 26 guys, do in the clubhouse that's really going to matter the most, because they're the ones that are doing everything. And so a lot of great comments from Joe Musgrove yesterday that we want to play in the next segment to kind of reiterate why it's been important and why this hire at the beginning was very head-scratching, now making a lot of sense, and why it is the best hire that they could have done based on the candidates they have. They took the time to do it. And they got everything done in the amount of time to be ready for free agency. And I don't know if this is going to be a fast free agency or if it's going to be a slower free agency, but all I know is teams are going to be open for business here very shortly. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to keep getting your reactions to this hiring news. Again, Monday is when the press conference is expected to be, so we get to hear from Craig Stammen for the first time. As we look through the rest of the show, we got the NFL whip around coming up. We're going to talk about some high school football. We got playoffs today. First round of the playoffs, Frank. We'll rip through a lot of those games. A lot of teams have byes tonight, but it's the first round of the playoffs from Division 5 all the way to Division 1. Open Division is off this week. They will be back next week. And it sounds like they actually have some dates, times, and locations for CIF championship games now, which is good to hear. It sounds like a lot of them are going to be at Southwestern College. We got that to talk about. Aztecs back in action tomorrow against Hawaii in football. This is a big win. This could be, that if they can win this game, that sets them up mightily for the final 3 games of the season. But also, this is kind of the last trap game that they have to play. If they get to a point at the end of the season where they still haven't lost in conference play and they play at New Mexico, that's kind of a trap game too, but that's mostly for making the college football playoff more than being in the Mountain West Championship game. That should be already clinched if they can take care of business in these next couple of weeks. This is kind of the last trap game that they have, and it's always difficult to play at Hawaii and play in that 3-hour time difference. And so, and there a little bit of, we saw the injury report. There's a lot of important Aztec players that are banged up, at least on the injury report, and we'll talk about that later on. We got college basketball this weekend. Houston Christian is taking on the Tritons on Saturday. Idaho State is going to take on San Diego tonight at 6 o'clock on ESPN+. I'll have the call with Jack Cronin. And then Idaho State stays in town, and we'll play at Viejas Arena on Sunday at 2 p.m. So we got college basketball this weekend. Watched the NFL game last night. Raiders are still going to Raider. I don't know how they should have won that game like 5 different times.
We also have, because of everything that went on yesterday, we're supposed to do it yesterday. We will have tickets to that San Diego State, Idaho State game to give away. Again, we were supposed to do that yesterday, but with everything that broke yesterday, didn't have time to get to it. So you will have a chance to win tickets to that San Diego State, Idaho State game on Sunday afternoon.
Also, we're going to do yesterday that we're doing today. Mark Neville, CEO of Sports San Diego, is going to come on to talk about the big announcement that they had. They've unveiled the new slate of teams that are going to be in the 2026 Rady Children's Invitational. And it sounds like UCLA is coming. So we'll get you the full list of teams in that particular tournament, how to get your tickets for this year. If you haven't done so already, I'm sure we'll get an update on some teams that might be close to being in a situation to come to the Holiday Bowl in January. We'll talk with Christian Shimabuku, who writes for the Aloha State Daily. He'll give us a preview of San Diego State and Hawaii. Eddie Brown, we're trying to track down and join us in the 1 o'clock hour. Get all your thing you need for fantasy football this weekend. Drake Hills will come on at 1:30 today to get you the winner go home playoff game preview between San Diego FC and Portland. That's on Sunday at Snapdragon Stadium. We'll make our college picks. Skylar, again, out of town, so she's going to have to send her picks into us, but we'll do that at 1:15. But just getting started here. Want to get your phone calls today, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number sports station, 97 through the Fan. I don't know how I feel about this. August and 9:17 to the Fan. Join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. I do feel good about that. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorney, is helping good people regain control of their future. When charged with the crime since 2010, visit davidpshapirolaw.com. We're going to be giving away Aztec tickets in the 1 o'clock hour. I sent this to, did I send this to you and Adam?
No, you did not send it to me.
So like high school on SI, so Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, you showed me yesterday. You didn't send it to me.
Yeah, it's SB Live. I don't even know if I have an account for this, but SB Live is doing a bracket challenge for high school football games, which sounds fun. But like, are we going too far with this?
Yes,
I think so. I mean, like, it's kind of cool, but then I'm looking at I pulled it up, and I'm looking at it, and it's got all the logos, and you're filling out a bracket like you would fill out a March Madness bracket. Is this bad news? It just seems a little much to be doing some type of gambling game on high school football. Am I wrong in this?
no, especially now. No, you're not wrong.
By the way, just for, all intents and purposes, like, I have seen, like, we've played in Reno before. There was a game line on our game when we were in Reno. So they have lines on high school games in Vegas and in other parts of the country. Like, that's not crazy, apparently.
Incredible.
I mean, I think it's kind of crazy, but at the same time, it's not. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm intrigued about winning this bracket challenge, but I just feel like it's kind of ridiculous. Hopefully it's for nothing. Hopefully it's just for fun. But I think we're opening a can of worms here.
Oh, really?
On the high school football bracket challenges.
Who would have thought?
Yeah. Could you imagine if we ran that as like a promo? People would be like, are you guys out of your mind? So anyway, I saw that pop up. I've been getting emails about it like every day for the last like 3 or 4 days. Today is high school football playoffs. And we'll talk more about that later on. Get you our picks. Just kidding. Not going to do that. We talked about this hiring, and the important part of the hiring was the players, and the players being on board, and the players wanting to play for said person. And how about, what was the players' reactions? And we got that yesterday when Joe Musgrove joined Gwynn and Chris to talk about how excited he was for Craig Stammen to be the new manager of the Padres. And he had a lot of great clips that we're going to play for you right now. I'm just pulling up the list on my end of things. But you saw him immediately when the news came about on social media. He posted on Instagram, right man, right time. And I think there's a difference, and this is why, you could trust Joe Musgrove. There's a difference between like being happy for your buddy and being excited that this is the right hire. And I think this is kind of where Joe Musgrove is going about, talking about how it is a great hire. But the first thing asked to Joe was about how surprised he was that he found out that Craig Stammen was going to be the new manager of the San Diego Padres. Here's Joe Musgrove on Gwynn and Chris.
Yeah, very surprised. And not a negative surprise, just, a name that we didn't even know was in the running, and somebody that I didn't know was willing to step into that role as soon as he has. But I couldn't be more excited about it, man. I mean, obviously, maybe slightly biased because I've gotten a chance to play with him, but, that's also experience that gives me, a strong feeling that he's going to be really good in this role. Just the character, the person, the integrity, the relationships that he built over his years here with players and front office. He's just like the gold standard for what you'd want out of a professional ball player and, hopefully out of a manager.
The other thing when asked about it was, everybody knows about Craig Stammen, the player. Only a select few of us have been able to talk about him as the man. I talked about that yesterday. He's a great dude. It was fun interviewing him a couple of times that I had. Very nice, always takes the time. And it sounds like the players love playing with him too. And playing alongside him and being in the clubhouse with him. Here's what Joe Musgrove had to say about Craig Stammen, the guy.
The high character is the biggest thing. Craig's one of the most consistent, honest, considerate and reasonable people that I've come across in the world of baseball. And you meet all different kinds of personalities, but this is a guy that seems to have only changed for the better throughout his career, and has been like a constant learner of the game. You don't see many people that are in a pitching role, and especially in a relieving role, that have the baseball IQ that Craig has. And I know I've seen it over the last couple of years. I think 22 is his last year playing, and being around the complex, it's like his mind is completely shift from player mode to now I'm here to help these guys and be a mentor and offer my experience, and now my chance to kind of learn what the next step or the evolution of my baseball life is going to be. So getting to work with them in like a different role where it's more of a a friendly face, that doesn't have the intensity of trying to perform every night, has given me a chance to see who he is away from the playing side of the game. And he was a big factor in the last couple of years of getting our leadership group together and helping be that mesh piece between the front office and the clubhouse.
Joe Musgrove on with Gwynn and Chris yesterday talking about the hiring of Craig Stammen. Here's the other part that was interesting. In Joe Musgrove's opinion, what does Craig Stammen need to do in the beginning of his tenure as manager of the San Diego Padres?
Yeah, I think it's creating a genuine relationship with your players, or as a player with your manager. And there's always this corny, cheesy, like I'm your best friend pitch from the managers, like the first couple weeks. And then most of them start to show their true colors as the year goes on. And, you have this feeling in your stomach. And I'm not comparing this to any manager I've been in the past, but I have been around guys, that are like this. And there's that feeling of, this guy was all smiles and kisses when we first met. And now it's getting to the gritty stuff and, he's showing his true colors. So
yeah,
I think going into this, Craig has that relationship established with a majority of the people in the organization, and definitely a lot of guys in that clubhouse. And I think the honest conversations can start happening earlier in spring training and right out of the gate. I think the whole open door policy is going to be a truer open door policy where, guys are comfortable going in, speaking to the manager about, issues. And I know people complain about, the maybe too friendly of a relationship with some of the players, but I really don't see that being an issue. I see that only, helping us as a group is like the open communication, and maybe the communication gets a little more heated, but these are guys this is the guy in Craig that's been on the field and been in this situation in the last handful of years. So I think he can relate to the players on a much higher level. You look at managing a bullpen, I feel like that's one of the most difficult things for a manager to do out of all the responsibilities he has. And, with the combination of him and Ruben, if that's what Ruben decides to do, which we're all, fingers crossed he does, I think it's a really good duo to get our guys through the year healthy, to find out where to push these starters. And the inexperience that Craig has as a manager, everyone's in that first year at some point in their career. And I think with the guys that Craig has and the situation he's walking into is pretty ideal for someone coming into their first year. So I'm super excited about it, man.
Joe Musgrove, super excited about the hiring. Lays out a lot of big reasons why he is excited about the hiring. He joined Gwynn and Chris yesterday. We're going to take a quick break. There was one other thing that they asked Joe Musgrove about, his health. How is Joe Musgrove doing this offseason? We'll talk about that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. All guests on 97 through the Fan join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with the crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. Joe Musgrove joined Gwen and Chris on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline yesterday. Had a lot to say about the new hire for the San Diego Padres and Craig Stammen. He also talked about his health. Here's what Joe Musgrove had to say, how he's feeling right now as we head to the offseason.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the back end of this rehab. During that playoff push, I was, building up in hopes that if we got far enough, I'd have a chance to pitch. So I was in a pretty good spot there, felt like I was within reach of having a chance to pitch. So I feel good knowing that, I have tested this thing a little bit. I've gotten the velo up into the 90s, pretty close to full intensity and, responded pretty well. So the fact that we ran out of time at the end of the year kind of pushed us into this little deload, kind of more of a normal off season. What I would do, if the season ended on the day that it did, I would go into like a deload of throwing and kind of taper off and then, slowly build back up. So I'm just now in like the phase of building back up in my second week of playing catch. I've been back in the gym for a few weeks. So I feel great. I mean, this is a 13-month mark now, I think 14 months maybe. And, I feel great. And knowing that I have 4.5 more months to really get this thing dialed in, I feel, pretty confident that I'm going to be ready to go come spring.
That's good news. There's no guarantees, obviously, and hopefully he doesn't have any setbacks, but that is good news because the Padres could use some starting pitching. MLB free agency opens up today. what time? Do we know what time it opens up? It obviously is not open yet because Hot
I
Stove is still
don't know.
talking. There's usually a time that they get.
The only thing I've seen about MLB free agency so far today is that Murakami has officially posted today. So his window was a 21-day window, opens up today.
Yeah, the countdown for Murakami's move to the majors is officially underway. All 30 MLB league clubs will be informed on Friday, today, that Murakami has been posted by the Tokyo Yakult Swallows with his official negotiation window set to open on Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern, so 5 a.m. Pacific. He will have until 5 p.m. Eastern time on December 22nd to agree to a deal with the big league team. If he is still unsigned at that point, his posting window will expire and he will return to the Swallows. So there you go. That's what you need. We had 15 players get qualifying offers yesterday. We'll talk about that in just a bit. But today should be the day for MLB free agency. It usually starts at like a weird time.
Is this usually like the 5 o'clock?
It's like late in the afternoon.
Time, yeah.
So I'm looking up the official time. I can't remember off the top of my head. But you wanted to make sure that your managerial search was done before you started free agency. And now my internet's not working, which is just so fantastic. So fantastic. All right, well, I'll get you that information as when it comes about. I'm going to have to do it on my phone at this point. There it is. Fall guide to the offseason dates, rules, and terms. This is 5 days after. I think you would have seen some stuff already. I'm pretty sure there's like a time that they about to whatever open up. What is an opt-out? What is a qualifying offer? Blah, blah, blah. Salary arbitration, non-tender deadline. I don't know. Doesn't say. Interesting. Free agency does start today, though. So we'll see. There's a lot of big free agents out there for Major League Baseball teams, and then there's a lot of things that the Padres have to do. We started to go through the checklist. Number one priority was hire a manager. That's done. Number two priority now is trying to get involved in the starting pitching market of some kind. That's the biggest concern, I would say, for the Padres going in the offseason is who's going to pitch for them next year. You know about Nick Pivetta. Oh, here it is. Players cannot sign with a new team until 5 p.m. Eastern time on the 5th day. So we have until 2 o'clock. So when our show ends, you'll see some signings.
When our show ends, free agency begins.
That's right. Free agency is open. So it's the calm before the storm when it comes to the free agents. And again, you can pull up the list. I mean, there's a lot of free agents out there. They go position by position, and they rank everything based on WAR. Here's what you need to know about the starting pitching market for the San Diego Padres, right? If they want to look for it. Now, they did offer qualifying offers to Dylan Cease and to Michael King, which means if they lose him in free agency because they both declined said qualifying offer, they're going to be able to get a draft pick back. So it's kind of a win-win for the Padres in that particular day. So today is the day of free agency opening up at 2 o'clock today. That's what they announced as. So I don't know what the days were at because Brandon said yesterday was the 5th day, started yesterday.
Unless it's after 5 complete days.
I think it's after 5 complete days.
So that would be today.
That would be today. Jeff Passan said it's today. We're going with today. Jeff Passan knows what he's doing. Okay, here are your free agents at the starting pitching position in order of, I guess it's got to be career WAR. Players are grouped by position and ranked by their Fangraphs WAR total across 2024 and 2025. Wow. Okay, so
over the last 2 years.
Over the last 2 years. Number one starting pitcher on the market, Dylan Cease. He's had an 8.1 WAR. It's been better than Framber Valdez. It's been better than Ranger Suarez, Nick Martinez.
Sure.
He's the best guy available. 30 years old. Didn't want him around here anymore. Pass. Framber Valdez, Ranger Suarez, Nick Martinez, Chris Bassett, Michael King, Shota Imanaga, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Zach Littell, Patrick Corbin. That is your list of guys that have had at least a Eric Fetty. Those are all the players that have had at least a 3 WAR since 2024.
And all of those guys that you mentioned, except for Martinez, Bassett, Kelly, Littell, and Corbin and Fetty, have had qualifying offers. So Cease, Valdez, Suarez, King, Imanaga, and Gallen have all had qualifying offers extended to them.
That only meant, well, luckily, two of those guys are your guys. You don't have to give
Yes.
up a draft pick to
True.
yourself. So I guess you could theoretically. I mean, they could, based on the numbers that they keep showing for Michael King, of like what he could potentially get, that to me seems affordable for the Padres. 3 years, $75 million?
Yes. Yeah, we had this conversation on Wednesday. I would even bump that up to 5 and 125.
Who says no? Every time you talk about contracts and everything like that, you have to ask the question, who is saying no? Padres wouldn't say no, in my opinion. That's an affordable contract. Does Michael King say no to that? He might. I think a lot of people are overemphasizing the injury that he had. I don't think King's going to take the qualifying. He already declined it. So I think a lot of people, especially people outside of San Diego, view that injury that he got that was a fluke as a massive red flag based on the reporting we've seen and the predictions we've seen from a lot of different reporters.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily feel like a lot of teams are going to I don't know if they're going to agree with a lot of those things.
I think
there's no way he gets 3 years, $75 million. I bet you he gets a little bit more. I understand the logic. I understand the thought process, right? It's his first year of being a starting pitcher was 2 years ago. He pitched all these innings, the most he's ever pitched in a career. And then the next year he was beat up and he's 30-something years. He's got to be, 30 years old? 31 years old.
31.
He's going to be 31 years old in the middle of next season. It's a little iffy with some of the you see the injuries after, regardless of what the injuries were, you see those after a full season, his first full season of being a starting pitcher, and a bunch of red flags pop up. Can this guy do this for multiple years in a row? I think the injury is more of a fluke than anything else.
I agree that the injury was a fluke. I think the thing that's scaring teams off most, or that would scare teams off most, is how easily he did it.
Sleeping?
He did it by sleeping. Like, it's one thing to roll your ankle while playing Frisbee. Like, that's something that you know exactly how it
It's
happened.
a preventable thing. Like,
exactly.
Hey, we should probably not play Frisbee anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, you should probably not do this anymore. Pickleball is probably not for you until you retire.
He had a freak injury while sleeping that knocked him out for virtually the entire season. That, I think, is the red flag that everyone is seeing. Not the severity of the injury, but it was just how he got the injury and how long it took him out for.
I just think that can happen to anybody, though.
I agree.
And I understand like some of the thought process with that, but at the same time, it's just it's a injury that is. I don't think it's a recurring thing. I understand the fear, right? It's like, all right, well, if he could get hurt doing this, like maybe he's fragile. I can't imagine that being the conversation. I think a lot of teams are willing to take the risk. Here's the other thing too: he's a starting pitcher, and teams are desperate for starting pitching. I think if he was like a different position, you'd be like, you know what? I don't really want to go that direction because of everything that you just laid out. I have other options. You don't really have a lot of options in the starting pitching department. Everybody in baseball needs more starting pitching. I would bet you even the Dodgers internally think, we need more starting pitching. Yeah. Everybody needs it. And you get a guy like Michael King, who is ranked the 6th best starting pitcher on the open market based on WAR, F-WAR, for the last 2 years. And the only reason why he's 6th is because he missed the time of the injury. You're going to take a chance on him. Let's throw out the Padres. Let's not talk about the Padres for a second. Let's talk about other teams and looking at Michael King, because those are the teams that would be a little skeptical, right? Mm-hmm. Outside the organization. You look at a guy like Dylan Cease. You're taking a risk with Dylan Cease.
Yes.
You're taking the risk of, all right, he hasn't been as good in his last couple of seasons. His strikeout rate is still high. His metrics are good to an extent, but he walks in players, and he just hasn't been that great. Hasn't been his old self. He's 30 years old. Are we going to give this guy a gigantic contract? You'd have to take the risks there. Framber Valdez, Ranger Suarez, Nick Martinez comes with a massive risk too. He's the 4th best starting pitcher on the market. That guy's bounced back and forth between being a starter and a reliever. He did the same thing in Cincinnati. He signed on with the Padres twice to be a starting pitcher, and he had to get bumped to the bullpen. Then he goes to Cincinnati, and the same thing happens to Nick in Cincinnati. He ends up getting bumped to the bullpen. Last year, he was able to make it through and be a starting pitcher. He's the 4th best guy on the market, according to Fangraphs WAR. And yet, he's 35 years old. You're taking a risk in signing him, too. So you start looking at the risks that are involved. Are you taking the risk on Dylan Cease? It's going to cost you more money, who might not be the guy that he used to be? Are you going to take a risk on 35-year-old Nick Martinez? Or like out of everybody that's got a risk, Michael King, his risk is not as big as a lot of these other players.
Correct. And a lot of the other players that are around him, the Framber Valdez, the Ranger Suarez, the Shota Imanaga, the Zach Gallen, those guys are out of your price range, or at least they would appear as though they are out of your price range. They're all around the same age as Michael King, maybe a year or two either way. But I wouldn't mind taking that risk with Michael King, especially with what we saw during the playoffs. That one inning that he pitched, struck out 3 guys and 4 hitters. He looked fine. He looked like he could have been the starter that day. So I wouldn't mind taking that risk. I'm just saying I understand why the number is so low on his projection, of possibly because of how the injury happened.
I think
how long it took him out.
I think that's better for the Padres. I mean, because the Padres are probably not like super worried about it, or maybe 100%. They are. And if they are worried about it, then that should be a red flag for everybody else. If they don't even like want to touch that potential price. And I'm curious to see what some of these like deals start coming through at 2:00 today. Now, it's not going to be a whirlwind, but maybe it might be.
It's not going to be NBA free agency.
Oh, it's definitely not the NBA free agency. How long is the NBA free agency window open for?
A week, I think.
Is that what it is?
I think so.
Double check that, because I know theirs is like just so much fun, and baseballs last so long. It's like that everybody's got all this extra time. There will be like 2 or 3 signs today. You're like, wow, can't believe that was the case. And then it's going to go dark. And then it'll like pick up again around the general manager meetings, and it'll go dark again. And then during the holidays, you'll get a couple. Padres have made some moves over the holidays. And then in January, it gets dark again. And then right before spring training, boom, everybody signs again.
So NBA free agency. The free agency moratorium is a negotiation period between July 1st and 6th in which teams may not sign most free agents or make trades. Starting at 6 p.m. Eastern on June 30th, teams may negotiate deals with free agents. However, those players cannot officially sign until 12:01 p.m. on July 6th. So they have a 5-day window, 5.5-day window in which they can start negotiations.
But can't sign anybody.
Until midday on the last day.
And then that just opens to the season, right?
Yes.
Maybe that's why it's just a flurry of moves that go down. So anyway, back to the starting pitching market list. Again, this is where like having Craig Stammen and Ruben Niebla and the pitching staff, coaching staff that you have is going to have to get creative. Because a lot of these guys at the top are going to get paid top dollar.
Mm-hmm.
And there's guys up there that you don't want to pay top dollar to. Like after Merrill Kelly, it kind of drops off. You have Zach Littell. He was okay. Was a pick. Did he pitch for the Reds last year?
I believe. Let me see.
I want to say he was a guy that was moved too. I mean, he's solid, but he's going to get probably paid more than you would like him to get paid. And then you got
him with
Patrick Corbin,
the Rangers.
I think he was with a lot of different teams.
Zach Littell was a Red last year.
He pitched. I remember him pitching against us as a Red. It seemed like did he get traded to Tampa?
Yes, he got traded from Tampa
to Cincinnati. That's what it was.
He was with Boston. He was with the Giants for 21 and 22.
Also, where I remember him from.
And he was with Minnesota to start his career. So he was not with the Texas Rangers at all.
I cut it off at Zach Littell because then after Littell, you got Corbin, who's 36. You got Eric Fetty, who's been okay at 33. You got 43-year-old Justin Verlander, who lost his first 9 starts of the season. Zach Eflin, been solid. Then you got 92-mile-an-hour Kyle Hendricks. Miles Michaelis at age 37. Then you got Nasty Nestor, Adrian Hauser,
who just had surgery as well, Nestor.
Tyler Mahle, Lucas Giolito, Andrew Heaney, Michael Lorenzen. I mean, it falls off after the top. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players.
I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on Lucas Giolito.
I think Lucas Giolito is still on a little bit more expensive side of risk taking.
I agree.
But the range that I see that has like the guys that might be able to be fixed range is Michael Lorenzen through Marcus Stroman. Those are the guys to me. Now, Woodruff is different because he missed time with an injury and he received a qualifying offer. But Michael Lorenzen, Jose Quintana, Aaron Savali, Chris Paddock, Tyler Anderson, Mike Soroka, John Gray, Martin Perez, Griffin Canning, Chris Flexen, Marcus Stroman. I guess you could throw Max Scherzer in there. Cal Quantrill, Dustin May. I mean, these are players to me that you're going to be able to get a lot cheaper that you might, with a little bit of magic, get a lot out of them or get more out of them than what you're paying for. That is the range that I see. I think you could probably go down a little bit further to like an Armand Marquez. But after that, I mean, it just really falls off the map.
I don't see Griffin Canning being too bad a play. You could try and see what you can get out of Cal Quantrill. I mean, Dustin May's young, can still work.
What's the deal with Walker Buehler? Is he just a free agent?
I believe he is.
God, he's had a negative 0.4 WAR in the last 2 years. I know he missed time with an injury.
Yeah.
Age 31. I mean, how much money does he, if you get him on a deal, maybe, how much money is Walker Buehler going to get?
You could see if you could try to get something out of Tomoyuki Sagano. He came in as a Japanese import. He's only played 1 year with the Orioles, so that's only 1 year of WAR at .01. The downside of Sagano is he's 36. That's your downside with him.
All right, here we go. Fangraphs has posted, since all the qualifying offers are in and deals, they have posted what players might be able to get. Their predictions for who, like how much it's going to cost to get certain players. Mm-hmm. It's pretty on par with a lot of the other ones we saw. Like Dylan Cease is the third highest pitcher listed based on WAR from last year. Mm-hmm. He's expected to sign a 5-year, $130 million contract, give or take years, give or take money, $26 million a year.
That's actually not far off of what you'd give King.
I mean, if that's the case, that's
5 years, 130. That's $1 million a year more than what I would give King.
That's probably what I would give Cease too. Like the whole prediction that he might be able to get $32 million a year. I just can't imagine that.
That seems erroneous.
Are we going to see a free with here's what we talked about last week with free agency for the Padres and baseball. I'm curious to see what this market looks like when you got a lockout looming in 2027. Is it going to be a lot less? Do organizations know it might be a lot less? Do they know what's coming? Are they not trying to give out massive contracts? Or are they trying to get as many of these contracts on the books as possible for long term so they load up their team and everything's grandfathered in if they do decide to go with the salary cap? I mean, there's a lot of that in play, I think, this year for both the players, the agents, and organizations.
I think that's more pending on the players. If you start seeing players take what feel like undercut contracts, then yeah, they want to get locked onto a team before a lockout comes in.
We're going to pull this sheet back up later on in the show. When we come back, we got to get you locked into the NFL coming up this weekend, the NFL Whip Around when we return. Try to catch up on a lot of stuff today that we missed yesterday on the Braden Surprenant Show. And you can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Stream your local NFL game live every Sunday, all season long, starting at just $30 for your first year. That's like $250 a month. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. We're going to get to the NFL Whip Around in just a second. Get to your phone calls, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Kevin and Chula Vista on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Kevin?
A great discussion here on who to get and what to get. You know, I think that Braden, because we have this conversation, it seems like every year now with the free agency, I think from some standards that we need to look at. Number one, if you're talking about pitching, be young as possible. That's what the Padres need. Two, be healthy. Certainly that's what the Padres need. I mean, how many years have we gone through season after season where we've had injury after injury and pitchers can't last through the 162, let alone going into the playoffs? I think that's the important thing. Number three, you got to be affordable to get get these guys. They have to be, from a threshold standpoint, affordable and able to deliver us to the World Series. If they're not of that quality, I would rather honestly see the Padres develop their own. They should do that. Stick with the younger guys that are sustainable, and you know what you got. All of this gamble and this foldy roll that we go through season after season about other people's, literally their cast-offs. It's basically a bunch of junk is what you're paying for, and we're overpaying for in many cases. And that's where I'll leave it today.
Kevin, appreciate the phone call. I do think I saw the rumor of like potential trade candidates this offseason and the Nationals shopping Mackenzie Gore and the Padres potentially being linked to trading for Mackenzie Gore. I think that's very interesting. I think that fills a lot of the boxes that Kevin brings up about having young, controllable pitching, or at least young pitching. I mean, but if you're looking at the free agent market, like, to me, it'd be better, and we talked about this earlier in the week, it would be better to be able to develop all your own talent and add legit starters. I think if you're getting, because starting pitching develops later, and guys can pitch to a lot older level. I mean, Max Scherzer, I thought, did well in the playoffs this year. The guy's 43 years old. Whether or not he make it through the entire season, that remains to be seen for some of these guys. But you look at the starting pitching availability, it's a lot of guys that are in their early 30s, which is still enough. Now, I wouldn't be giving a big contract to anybody that's 37 years old. Merrill Kelly is expected to get a contract around, give or take 2 years, $32 million. That's $16 a year. That seems to be the going rate for starting pitching. Anywhere between $8 to $20 million a year is kind of the standard for starting pitching in Major League Baseball, depending on how old you are. You can look at FanGraphs and the projections that they have for a lot of these players. Michael King, 4 years, $88 million, $22 a year. I would take that if I was the Padres. I would. Dylan Cease, 5 years, $130, $26 a year. Probably not. But I think that's a fair price, probably at this day and age, for Dylan Cease, for what he can do. Framber Valdez is expected to get 5 years, $140. I mean, if you look at the free agent market for starting pitching, the top guy is Framber Valdez in terms of expected contract, and he's expected to get $28 a year. Ranger Suarez expected to get, give or take, $25 a year. I think a lot of these prices might be going down a little bit, maybe with the lockout looming. We're going to talk more about free agency, probably a lot, for the next handful of weeks as it opens up today at 2 o'clock. But in the meantime, it's time to whip around with the NFL Whip Around.
Took me a second. We got a couple of new buttons on there. My reflexes would have taken me to the wrong place. I would have hit the wrong button. All right, so getting ready for week number 10 in the NFL season. We have another London game coming up. The 3-5 Atlanta Falcons will take on the Indianapolis Colts, this time over in Europe. Colts favored by 6.5 in the neutral site.
Colts are better for sure than Atlanta. These European games scare me, especially like Survivor picks. Because I was like, I can take the Colts this week in a Survivor. Oh, wait a minute. They're playing in Germany? Where are they playing? They're playing in Germany?
I don't know.
I think they're playing in Frankfurt. I'll take the Colts. I think the Colts are better than the Falcons.
All
Falcons are scary, though, because you never know what Falcon team's going to show up.
True. The Colts will hold Drake London to under 50 yards.
I'll sell it. Drake London had a big day. He's not going to have as big of a day as he had last week, but he's got to get more than 50 yards.
You're going to notice something with these bold predictions is that the nerds were off this week.
Nerds!
And the guys who just watched the game were really on it this week.
We didn't want to talk about the game last night.
I mean, we can.
The Raiders, man.
10-7.
Raiders should have won that game like 15 different times. I texted my friend Ron, who's a Raiders fan. I said, bro, how do you watch this team on a weekly basis? Because for Survivor picks, we already picked Denver. Couldn't pick them again. A lot of people picked Denver in the Survivor pool. I'm looking for carnage. Raiders, I'm like living it down with the Raiders. I'm like, how in the world do Raider fans watch this team? They gave up I think a blocked punt. By the way, blocked punt by J.L. Skinner. You know where he went to high school? Point Loma High School. Pointers J.L. Skinner with a blocked punt for, I don't even know if they scored. They had a blocked punt, a pick, fumble, had a turnover close to the end zone. They were disaster last night. Disaster. Broncos didn't look very good either, by the way.
It was windy there, too. That was the only thing I've really seen from that game was the official with the ball between his feet and then it rolling away when he moved.
The Broncos, you start to look, the Broncos might be fake good. Like I called the Colts out for being fake good. The Broncos might be fake good. Look at who the Broncos have beaten and how many points they've beaten them by all season. You're like, oh, maybe they aren't the best team because they didn't look very good last night at all. I mean, you can blame the win as much as you want. Not very good. Raiders are trash. They're hard to watch. All right, on to the next one.
The 6-2 Buffalo Bills taking on the 2-7 Miami Dolphins out at Hard Rock Stadium. Bills are 9.5-point favorites on the road here.
Bills win. They don't cover the 9.5. I know the Dolphins are garbage, but when those northern teams go down middle late of the season to play in Miami, it's a little bit different. I've heard players say before, I've already put my winter coat on, a little extra flab, and I go down there and I'm out of shape and it's rough. So, I could see that being a problem.
The Bills will keep running back Devon Achane from picking up long gains in the passing game.
Devon Achane?
Sure.
Yes, Devon Achane.
There you
I was
go.
like, who is Devon Achane?
Listen, dude.
Devon Achane.
Yep.
Yes. Bills will keep running back Devon Achane for picking up long gains in the passing game. I believe it. I'll
Okay.
buy it.
The 3-5 Baltimore Ravens looking a little bit better, taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings 4.5-point dogs at home, believing in the Ravens' resurgence.
I believe in the Ravens' resurgence. What did I say like 3 weeks ago? They're going to be battling back for a playoff spot. They're going to be battling back for a division title. They're going to get back into this thing. They got Lamar back. They got Derrick Henry. I got the Ravens.
Again, another proof that the nerds were off this week. Bold prediction, the Vikings will blitz less than usual.
Sure. I mean, it'd be tough to... sometimes you can't, there are situations where you can't physically blitz. If you're an offense and you tighten your splits and you go quick and you get the ball out quick, it doesn't matter how much I blitz. If you tighten your splits, I'm never going to get there. So, and when you have a team why would you blitz Lamar Jackson a ton if he can run around? Sometimes there's situations where blitzing is not great. So I could see this being a matchup where it's not great.
The 2-7 New York Giants taking on the 5-3 Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. Bears favored by 4.5.
I almost picked this to be a survivor pick for the Bears. I almost did. But the Giants, I don't know what to get with the Giants. Jackson Dart's good, but the Bears have struggled and have hung in there with teams that they shouldn't have. They've won games late. I like Chicago in this game, but I think the Giants give them a run for their money.
I mean, it's...
This is two teams that you can't trust going against each other. That's what it is. Two teams you can't trust the bet on going against each other in Chicago. I wouldn't touch that game with a 10-foot pole. Okay. No way.
Even still, though, I think it's going to be...
I'll take the Bears. The Bears.
Again, this one was just given to an intern. Consistent runs of 5 to 10 yards will keep Chicago moving the sticks.
Yes.
That was their bold prediction.
Well, if you run the ball if your running game gets 5 to 10 yards a pop, you will carry the Chicago Bears. Their rookie that they have that I just picked up in fantasy, more to something. He's keep giving him the rock. They have multiple running backs that have done a great job, and it's just whether or not the Bears decide to give them the rock or not. And when they do give them the rock, they do a good job. So I'm going to say yes, I buy it.
The 2-6 Cleveland Browns taking on the 1-7 New York Jets. Jets dogs by 2.5 at home.
Is this game on television?
I don't know.
Are people actually watching this game? Cleveland and the Jets. Is that the worst matchup every year?
I heard Justin Fields' mother has something to do on that day.
Yeah. I have something to do at it's a 10 a.m. game. I got something to do at 9:59 in the morning on Sunday.
You can't
Browns
make it too obvious
Jets,
that you're avoiding
dude,
it.
What? Jets coming off a bye, but it's the Jets. It usually means a disaster. And their past 9 games. Here's a fun stat for you in this article. In their past 9 games, the Jets after a bye, they're 1-8 with a minus 108 point differential. Coach Aaron Glenn bust the trend? The locker room was rocked by the trades of cornerback Sauce Gardner and defensive tackle Quentin Williams. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of effort Glenn gets from his players. Offering the coaching perspective, defensive coordinator Steve Wilkes said, quote, "They're not canceling the damn season."
Might as well.
Good luck, dude. I'll take the Browns. Their defense is better than the Jets. The Jets just trade away their 2 best defensive players on the road.
Bold prediction. The Jets will beat the Browns in part by shutting down quarterback Dylan Gabriel over the middle of the field.
How are they going to do that? They trade away 2 of their best defensive players.
Sauce Gardner.
I'm going to go no. I'm going to say they are not going to do that.
Well, by buying that, you're also admitting the Jets are going to win this game. 7-2 New England Patriots taking on the 6-2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucks favored by 2.5 down in Tampa.
I'll take the Bucks. My beloved New England Patriots that I've jumped on the bandwagon with Nate for. I don't see them beating the Bucks. I don't care. The fact that here's the thing that's kind of scared me about them was that the game with Atlanta was too close. I don't know how that game got so close. It was in New England, and that's why it's scary to talk about any games that the Falcons play because you don't know what Falcons team is going to show up. I got the Bucks. They cover the 2.5.
Buccaneers linebacker Yaya Diaby will have multiple sacks.
Sure.
Cool.
Patriots left tackle Will Campbell is currently 56th among qualifying tackles with a pass block win rate. While taking sacks is May's biggest weakness. Only the Titans' Cam Ward has more. Yeah, I'll buy that. Hey, see, look, the nerds got involved somehow.
I was gonna say that means something to me.
It does.
I'm not sure what, but it means something. The 1-8 New Orleans Saints taking on the 5-4 Carolina Panthers. Panthers 5.5 point favorites.
I'll take Carolina.
Okie dokie. The lack of pressure will give Slough a chance to finally establish himself as the Saints starter.
False.
Cool.
I'm selling that. He's not very good. The Saints are so bad. They just traded away Rashid Shaheed to, Devon Velley will now have a bigger role. Saints traded for Velley in the preseason. He has not been a big part of the offense. He's got a spot now. Good for Rashid Shaheed. The San Diego kid, the Mount Carmel kid, has been saved. It'd be nice if Chris Olave could get saved too and not have to play in New Orleans with a lousy quarterback and a terrible head coach and a terrible organization who's now 1-8 and about to be 1-9. I'll take Carolina minus 5.5. They probably win by 10.
The Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Houston Texans. Texans 1.5 point dogs at home.
I just saw this stat and it frustrates me because Saints receiver Chris Olave's 87 targets, second most in the NFL behind Bengals receiver Jamar Chase. I have both those guys in fantasy. It doesn't really help me too much. Got to catch the ball, get some yards. All right, next game. What were you talking about? I was distracted by that fantasy stat that pains my soul.
Texans tight end Dalton Schultz will record his first touchdown of the season.
What is it? Texans and who?
Texans and Jaguars.
I like the Texans in this game. It's in Houston.
Yes.
Yeah, I like the Texans to upset the Jags. 1.5-point road favorite for Jacksonville is interesting. I will take actually, no, I won't. CJ Stroud's not playing. Never mind. They got Davis Mills in. I'm taking the Jags. I forgot about CJ Stroud. Davis Mills, starting quarterback for the Texans. I'm taking the Jags. Dalton Schultz will record his first receiving touchdown of the season? Yes. Because when backup quarterbacks go in and young quarterbacks, I know Davis Mills is not that young of a quarterback, they rely on who, Frank?
Tight end.
They're tight end. So, yes, big week for Dalton Schultz this week.
Cardinals, Seahawks. Cardinals at 3-5. Seahawks at 6-2. Seahawks 6.5-point favorites at home.
Seattle. No Kyler Murray. I don't care how good the Cowboys made Jacoby Brissett this week. I'm taking the Seahawks. I think they're a good survivor pick this week. If you haven't used them.
Seahawks will have a significant lead at halftime.
Yes, I believe that.
There you go.
I hope that's the case. I took them in Survivor. I hope that's the case.
The 6-2 LA Rams taking on the 6-3 San Francisco 49ers. Niners are 4.5-point home dogs.
Rams.
Cool. Rams defense will slow down Mac Jones' success.
Buy it.
Fantastic.
I'll buy it for sure.
5-3 Detroit Lions taking on the 3-6 Washington Commanders. Commanders 8.5-point dogs at home.
They said President Trump's going to be at that game.
Allegedly,
for a Veterans
yes.
Day thing, sitting in the owner's box. Is this are they moving it? When are they moving to DC? Like in a couple of years, they got to start building
so it
their
would
stadium.
be a couple of years. Yeah.
I'll take the Lions. Commanders are not good. I mean, we'll see what happens with. They're not putting Jaden Daniels on the IR. They have hope that he can return.
Yeah,
but
said
he's not going to be. He's not going to be playing.
They said he's not going to need surgery as well.
And the Lions
announced.
are good. I'll take the Lions. What's the bold prediction of the day?
Washington defensive tackle Darren Payne will get his first sack since week 1.
He's going against a rookie guard and Tate Ratledge, who has a pass block win rate of 84%, which is 64th out of 65 guards. I will say, yes, I will buy that.
Sunday Night Football, the 5-3 Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the 6-3 LA Chargers. Chargers 2.5-point favorites at home.
We'll take the Chargers by 10.
Steelers will run on most first downs with their heavy personnel.
Pittsburgh 12th in DVOA when running the ball on first downs, with 27th when passing. Yes, I will buy that.
Monday Night Football, we will definitely not be getting to it on Monday with Craig Stammen's introductory press conference. 6-2 Philadelphia Eagles taking on the 5-2-1 Green Bay Packers. Pack favored by 1.5 at Lambeau.
That's dropped because it was 2.5. It's down to 1.5 now. I like the Packers in this game.
Philadelphia will resist the urge to blitz Packers quarterback Jordan Love.
No, they'll blitz him.
Cool. Fantastic.
He's under pressure a lot.
There's your Week 10 whip around.
Jordan Love makes a lot of great throws, and Jordan Love makes a lot of bad throws. It's just like a mix of both. Opinion on the blood frog, the spit blood uniforms, Alfredo? I love them. Do we need a show said spit blood uniforms? We might. Maybe we talk about it next. High school football is in action tonight. Playoff football, baby. Kicks off tonight. We'll get you the full preview when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. 11:24 on a Friday. It's a playoff Friday. It's a championship Friday for women's volleyball, girls volleyball, and CIF. We have championships games all weekend long. I do want to give a shout out to the all the girls playing in the CIF finals for girls volleyball around the county. Let's take a look at the brackets real quick before we talk about high school football. Open Division Championship will be tomorrow. Torrey Pines will take on Cathedral for the Open Division Championship game. That's going to be at Montgomery High School tomorrow at 7 o'clock for the Open Division. Torrey Pines has been basically unscathed in town all season long. In fact, I don't think they've lost any sets all season long.
Wait a minute. Torrey Pines, way up north. Cathedral Catholic, way up north.
That are on the same street.
Have to go all the way down
to
Montgomery High School.
Correct.
Which, for those of you who don't know, is on Palm Avenue. Not the northernmost Palm Avenue, the Palm Avenue down 2 minutes away from the border.
Yes.
To play
the championship game.
Why?
That's who got the bid.
Okay.
I mean, Francis Parker just got a brand new volleyball only facility. Did you know that? That's kind of cool.
No, I did not know
Francis Parker boys volleyball has been really good. The girls volleyball program's been great too. They have a brand new volleyball gym that is strictly for volleyball. They're hosting the Division I championship game tonight. And I think they're hosting Division 4 as well. And then Montgomery gets Division 5, 2, and Open tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting to say the least. I don't know how you got to put in bids and all that fun stuff. So I don't.
Okay.
But yeah, it just happened to happen like that. So tonight at 7:30 at Francis Parker, Scripps Ranch is playing Carlsbad in the Division I championship game. And we'll be in attendance of that after the USD game is over. Division II high school volleyball, Santa Fe Christian Patrick Henry will be Saturday at 4 o'clock at Montgomery. Division III volleyball championship game will be also on Saturday. El Camino and Olympian at Montgomery High School. That's a 1 o'clock game on Saturday. Division IV will be tonight at 5:30 at Francis Parker, Canyon Hills, and the Rock Academy. And then Division V was actually already happened. O'Farrell Charter won Division V last night at 7:30. Division 5 AA, I think, was also last night. St. Joseph Academy won in volleyball. That is what was going on in the volleyball realm. Now, high school football is tonight. Let's get excited for some high school football in town. Playoffs start tonight. Let's start in Division I. Pair of Avocado League rivals will duke it out, go head-to-head. Poway and Torrey Pines. The Poway Titans at 5-5. Torrey Pines 4-6. It's the 9-8 matchup. Titans have lost 3 of their last 4, while Torrey Pines has faced a brutal stretch of Mission Hills, San Marcos, and La Costa Canyon. Quarterback Blake Miller and linebacker Don Principe lead the Falcons, who beat Poway 40-22 earlier this season. It is a rematch from that game earlier this year. The big one tonight, again, 7-3 Modern Day Catholic, the 12 seed, taking on the 5 seed Point Loma, who's undefeated. The Crusaders, led by Trevor Hansen, and the defense that's allowed just 62 points during their 6-game win streak, will try to hand the undefeated Pointers their first loss. Point Loma's 2-quarterback system, Ryder Watson and Henry Hauser, has combined for over 2,000 yards and 31 touchdowns, while Romeo Carter and Mateo Correa anchor an elite defense. Up in the North County, Holtville from Imperial County made the Division I playoffs. They're to finish the season 9-1. They get the 11th seed. They have to drive all the way to Oceanside today. Does anybody know where Holtville is, Frank?
Over there.
Yes. Holtville. Go look at a map of Holtville and then look up like Holtville to Oceanside High School, like the directions. Holtville High School, directions to Oceanside High School. How far of a drive is that? This is a high school playoff game. That is a 2-hour and 28-minute drive for the game tonight.
Let's go.
If they want to go north through Brawley, it's a 3-hour and 5-minute drive.
Yeah, no, it's coming down to the 8 and then going pretty much to Yuma. You have to pass Calexico.
Yes. Holtville. So the Holtville Vikings are presumably on their way, I would imagine already, driving to Oceanside. That is a long haul for the Holtville Vikings.
It's pretty much, I mean, if you want to get like a reference point, I don't know how many, it's just past Mexicali. It's pretty much right, it's where it's just past it.
Yeah, it's further east of Mexicali and just north of it out in, the Brawley area in Imperial County. So Holtville is going to drive all the way to Oceanside tonight for that particular game. That is far. Anyway, they're going to take their ground game up north. Vikings running back Enrique Armas leads the entire state with 2,432 rushing yards and 32 touchdowns. Oceanside counters with a resurgent defense. The Pirates have won 4 straight heading into the postseason. Rounding out D1, Del Norte visits Rancho Bernardo. Got a lot of Rancho Bernardo parents in the chat. Del Norte 4-6. RB is 8-2. It's the 10-7 matchup. Broncos dual threat quarterback Gage Weddle has over 2,200 total yards and 20 touchdowns, while linebacker Gavin Valencia has 115 tackles to his name. Division II, Grossmont meets St. Augustine in the 8-9 matchup at Mater Dei Catholic High School. The Foothillers are rolling with 7 straight wins behind quarterback Tyler Holmes and running back Nick Klein, while Saints features two-way star Pai Palomalu, who rushed for over 1,000 yards and grabbed 4 interceptions on defense. Yes, Palomalu, the son of Troy Palomalu. Scripps Ranch, the 12 seed, will travel to La Jolla, the 5, as the Vikings' Aiden Farrell has topped 1,200 yards on the ground, and Carson Deal has over 1,000 yards receiving. That's the 5-12 matchup in Division II. San Diego High is going to make that long drive to Imperial that we just talked about Holtville having to do to Oceanside. Probably not as far of a drive being down here. 9-1 Imperial, 5-5 San Diego High. Imperial quarterback Santiago Urania and receiver Eli Arellano headlined a Tigers team that had won 9 straight before last week's loss to Holtville. With the win, Imperial probably would have been in Division I. San Pasqual, 7-3, the 10 seed, led by quarterback Robert Renteria, heads to Helix tonight, who's 4-6, as the Highlanders try to find some momentum after last week's 39-34 win over Steel Canyon. That is the 10-7 matchup in Division II. In Division III tonight, it's Montgomery at Bishops. Bishops 7-3, Montgomery 6-4. It's the 8-9 matchup in Division III, a battle of quarterbacks. Bishops star Cash Herrera, who's going to Indiana, has over 2,300 passing yards, while Montgomery's Kasim Williams has rushed for 1,119 yards and 15 scores. Should be a good one over in La Jolla. 2 matchups in La Jolla tonight. Patrick Henry takes on Olympian Nicky P. Remember we poured one out for Nicky P?
Yes.
Well, he's a Henry alum, and he's taking on your Olympian Eagles tonight. Patrick Henry, 5-5. Olympian is 8-2. Eagles quarterback Jaden Fuentes has more than 2,300 yards and 24 touchdowns through the air, as he will try to lead the Olympian Eagles into the next round as the 7 seed, hosting the 10 in Patrick Henry. Christian hosts Brawley. Brawley's 2-8. Christian's 3-7. This is the 6-11 matchup in Division III. Noah Ditmar and the Patriots try to ride momentum after last week's win over San Diego High. We'll see how that matchup goes on in the East County. Division IV is wide open. Coastal Academy, the 9 seed. They went 9-1 this year. They're going to travel down to Hilltop, who's 7-3, and the Lancers, Leo Mendoza, who has rushed for 1,200 yards this season. Mira Mesa, the 11 seed, will go to Rancho Buena Vista, the 6 seed, who's 6-4. Rancho Buena Vista's Liam Smith and Colton Kincaid lead a balanced attack. La Jolla Country Day, the 10 seed at 4-6, and their quarterback will travel to Coronado, who's 6-3. The Islanders have won 4 out of their last 5. That's a 10-7 matchup. And Division V, Hoover visits Escondido as the 9-8 matchup. Mar Vista, the 12 seed, takes on Chula Vista, the 5. Bonita Vista, the 10, has the Santana, the 7. And Barron's quarterback Ryan Wood and Sultan's running back Jacob Browning will be a key in that particular game. Finally, small school Division V AA quarterfinals get rolling tonight. Maranatha, who won their league at 9-1, gets the 1 seed, led by Shane Peister and Aaron Tesson. Look to keep things rolling against the Rock Academy, who's 4-6. And then coming up on Saturday, Mountain Empire and quarterback Rex McFadden host Victory Christian, while Palo Verde Valley rides a 3-game win streak into a matchup with O'Farrell Charter. That's everything that you need to know about the high school football games tonight and tomorrow. First round of the high school football playoffs. this weekend. When we come back, college basketball back in effort tonight, back in full force. San Diego Toreros hosts Idaho State. Over the weekend, UCSD is hosting Houston Christian, and San Diego State hosts Idaho State. We'll talk about it all, plus the sports thread as we return on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. We're going to talk about college basketball here in a second. We're going to get to the sports thread in a second as well. I do want to mention, so we talked about a lot of these high school games that are going on. And, the San Diego section includes Imperial County. So there's a lot of Imperial County teams that, have to make the long drive out to us, or our schools have to go make the long drive out there. The hardest school to get to is Palo Verde Valley because it's in Blythe. Anybody know where Blythe is? It's like south of Lake Havasu. It's on the border between California and Arizona on the California side, obviously off of I-10. O'Farrell Charter has to travel to Palo Verde Valley on Saturday afternoon or whenever they decide to travel. That's when they're playing the game. The quickest route from O'Farrell Charter High School to Palo Verde Valley High School is 212 miles away. It's a 3-hour and 25-minute drive. Same section. And ours isn't even as bad as the southern section where there's there are a lot of schools traveling 4 hours to play games in the playoffs. But I do remember, that's kind of an extreme. In Texas, I remember in Texas, that was all of the games. Everybody was traveling 3 or 4 hours to play a playoff game. When I was out there, one of my friends, he went to the school called Lake Country Christian, LCC. And their mascot looks like they got the Philadelphia Eagles logo. It says LCC above it. Mm-hmm. It's a small Christian school. And the private schools in Texas are small. So they play in these small levels deals. They are in the same league. Okay, same league, right? So when we think about leagues, we think about school districts and everything's close. Olympian plays all the teams on the South Bay and City League stuff. They were in the same league. It was 2 Christian schools in Fort Worth and 2 Christian schools in Lubbock. Lubbock is 3 to 4 hours away.
Yeah.
And so for at least one league game a year, you had to drive to Lubbock to play Lubbock Christian, and there was another school out there, and it was the same league. I couldn't believe it.
Jesus.
Hey, Jordan, want to hang out on Friday? Because he used to do play-by-play for them.
Yeah.
At his high school. And in Texas, they all have their own radio deal. So he had to call the game. I was like, hey, do you want to, we're hanging out. We got the TCU game tomorrow. You want to hang out? He's like, no, I got to call a game. And I won't be back until 3 a.m. And I'm like, what do you mean you're not going to be back till 3 a.m.? He's like, well, we play Lubbock Christian. It's a league game. I'm like, what? That is insanity. Insanity. All right. Let's get to some Aztec Let's get to some college basketball around the county. That's the other thing, too. With 3 teams in the county, get to talk about 3 different D1 teams. UCSD is in action tomorrow. Aztecs in action on Sunday. USD is playing tonight against Idaho State. I'd like to see how USD bounces back tonight. Not really bounces back, but builds off of what they did in their first game. Their first game was great against Occidental. There was no fouls called. That game was cruising. Cruising. Hey, just wind it. Just wind it. So USD will be in action tonight against Idaho State. Aztecs, we have an update for you on a lot of different things as laid out by Mark Ziegler in his, notes for Aztec notes for the weekend. And so they've got Idaho State on Sunday. That game will be at 2:00. Is that game on KUSI?
No, it's going to be on the Mountain West Network. At least that's what ESPN had. I would have to.
I think it might be on KUSI. All of those games were on KUSI too, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll confirm.
So I think that game is on KUSI. But yeah, so after a dominant 77-45 opening win over Long Beach State, Aztecs are about to get stronger. Coach Dutcher's team already loaded with depth, defensive toughness, and freshman energy will soon welcome back 2 preseason All-Mountain West selections, Reese Dixon Waters and Magoon Guath, giving San Diego State one of the deepest and most physically imposing rosters in the nation. Thursday's practice at the Jam Center was loose and energetic, according to Mark Ziegler. Few sloppy moments, sure, but filled with optimism as the roster inches back towards full strength. Here's your injury updates. Reese Dixon Waters is back and ready. Missed the opener due to a corneal abrasion that required an ER visit and multiple eye appointments, whatever this, I don't know how to say it. I'm sure people ophthalmologist appointments.
Optometrist.
Optometrist
Was always what we went with.
OPHTHALMOLOGIST. Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
He looked at the eye doctor looked at him. Also missed 4 practices due to illness before that. Returned to full participation on Thursday. Expected to play Sunday versus Idaho State. It's a big plus for San Diego State. Likely wearing protective goggles. Dutcher emphasized that it was a real medical issue, not something the team could risk rushing. Quote, Reese always wants to play, but as it went on, his vision wasn't good. Now he is in goggles so he doesn't get poked. So that's good news. So Reese Dixon Waters is back. Good news for the Aztecs. He was San Diego State's leading scorer in both preseason exhibitions with 19 and 17 points. His return boosts San Diego State's scoring punch and veteran poise.
Yes, and on goaztecs.com, it is saying that the game will be on KUSI. So yes.
All right, good news. Magoon Guath, he's now cleared for contact. So finally cleared for full contact Friday. 6.5 months after the PCL surgery on his right knee. 7-foot sophomore was Mountain West freshman and defensive player of the year last season. Could possibly see limited minutes Sunday versus Idaho State, but the real target is November 18th against Troy, with full strength expected to be November 24th against the 7th-ranked Michigan Wolverines in Las Vegas. Brian Dutcher had this to say about Magoon Guath. If he has a couple of good days of practice, the temptation will be to throw him out there for a couple of minutes, but I don't want to rush him back. It's a balancing act. Coaches says he looks different, stronger, bulked up, ready to anchor the defense again. His return sets the stage for the big guys in the middle with Heidi or Compton alongside him. Good news for San Diego State. We'll talk more about the Aztecs in just a little bit because there's something that Jay Billis said that I'm against. I don't know why he said this. In his article, he ranked the top 68 programs in the country. The disrespect for San Diego State was ridiculous. We'll talk about that in a bit, but we got to get to today's sports thread.
The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me.
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk. Brought to you by QC Kinetics. Stop sitting on the sidelines. QC Kinetics gets you back in the game without surgery. To learn how, visit QCkinetics.com.
All right, Frank, what do we got today?
We have an article from NBC Sports because, God forbid, ESPN would write something about their own company.
Number 1.
ESPN Bet will soon be no more. The 4-letter network's partnership with Penn Entertainment will go belly up on December 1st. ESPN announced on Thursday a, quote, mutual agreement with Penn to abandon a relationship that failed from the get-go to live up to oversized expectations. And so the 10-year, $1.5 billion deal will have lasted no more than 2 years. ESPN followed that announcement with another announcement. Once Penn has been mutually kicked to the curb, which is why I said this is an NBC article, ESPN will launch a deal with DraftKings to make it the official sportsbook and odds provider of ESPN. DraftKings will also see a major role across ESPN digital platforms, said its ESPN press release. DraftKings will power the betting lab within the ESPN app, and their customers will receive a special promotion for ESPN Unlimited, ESPN's newly launched direct-to-consumer product. So ESPN Bet is gone. However, they are now incorporating DraftKings into ESPN.
I mean, they try to do it themselves, couldn't get it done. ESPN does a lot of things like they try to do themselves and they can't do it right. ESPN Bet, ESPN Zone, which I thought was cool, but apparently didn't make any money. ESPN Phone, which I don't really know what that even was. That's before my time. And ESPN Magazine. They have all failed tremendously. Mm-hmm. They have failed in everything aside from just playing highlights. I mean, even their content, we've seen the reports coming out of, whistleblowers and everything like that from people that used to work at ESPN. The fans want to see highlights and talk and sports, not debates about everything. And ESPN can barely get the highlights right at this point in time. So that's another failed entity for ESPN.
That's something I think we should probably dig into a little bit next week, because that was a big expose that was posted about ESPN yesterday, and a lot of great talking points out of that as well.
Number 2.
Former NFL star Antonio Brown was arrested on an attempted murder charge stemming from a May shooting after a celebrity boxing event in Miami. Miami police spokesman Mike Vega said Brown, 37, was taken into custody by U.S. Marshals in Dubai in the UAE. He was flown to Essex County in New Jersey, where he is being held pending extradition to Miami. It is unclear why Brown was taken to New Jersey first or how long he had been in Dubai, although he had posted several times on social media over the past few months from there. According to an arrest warrant detailing the May 16 shooting, Brown is accused of grabbing a handgun from a security staffer at the boxing event and firing 2 shots at a man he had been fistfighting with earlier in the night. The man, I'm not hurting myself pronouncing that, told investigators one of the bullets grazed his neck. So, unclear why he went to the UAE, but we do know now that Antonio Brown has been brought back to the U.S. by U.S. Marshals.
We don't know why he went to the UAE.
Well, I mean, no official.
We
can speculate all we want.
The fact that he went there and then was tweeting out stuff still, was crazy to me. It's a sad story about Antonio Brown.
It really is.
It really is a sad story about Antonio Brown. I mean, everybody goes back to that Vontaze Burfict hit, which is awful.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, though, I mean, has anybody looked at like his track record before he got to the NFL? I mean, his college days were rough too. It's just a sad story for this guy. And you know what? I don't know what to say more than that, but they went and got him.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 3.
Let's file this one under the I'm not all that surprised category.
We like to do that a lot.
Mark Sanchez will not return as a Fox Sports analyst as the former quarterback faces a trial stemming his alleged attack on a truck driver last month. To replace Sanchez, Fox has hired Super Bowl winning quarterback Drew Brees. Sanchez has been off air since the October 4th incident at the Westin Hotel in downtown Indianapolis. He was in town for the weekend's game between the Colts and Raiders when he confronted a truck driver before allegedly attacking him and injuring him. Sanchez was stabbed in the chest in the incident and spent a week in the hospital. The trucker, who claims self-defense, has not been charged and is suing him and Fox Sports for unspecified damage. I don't think they really needed to tell us after the story came out that Mark Sanchez will not be returning to Fox. I think we all
that was going to cost him a ton of money either. It's interesting. You have a former Fitness Quest 10 workout guy and Mark Sanchez getting replaced by a current and a long time Fitness Quest 10er. That's your San Diego connection for you. They still work out together at the gym.
Oh,
you know what? Good for Drew Brees. I know he wanted an opportunity to do that more. NBC did not give him too many opportunities to be a color analyst. Instead, he was just in studio. Now Fox has given him an opportunity to be a color analyst, which is what he wanted to do in this, post-career life. And Drew Brees gets an opportunity now. So excited for him.
Absolutely.
Number 4.
Former NBA player and assistant coach Damon Jones pleaded not guilty Thursday to charges he profited from rigged poker games and provided sports bettors with non-public information about injuries to stars LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Jones, a one-time teammate of James, said little during back-to-back arraignments in federal court in Brooklyn, letting his court-appointed lawyer enter not guilty pleas in a pair of cases stemming from last month's federal takedown of sprawling gambling operations. So Jones, one of the key figures in this, pleading not guilty.
Not surprised at this point. This is going to drag out for a long time. We'll get more information, and with this investigation, and because it's still an ongoing investigation, there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot more info coming out, especially as the courts start to take over on this particular deal. Good 100%. Job with that, Frank, on the sports thread. When we come back, Big announcement yesterday with Sports San Diego, and the CEO of Sports San Diego, Mark Neville, will join us on the Braden Surprenant Show to fill us in on what exactly is coming to San Diego next year.
San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
New lunchtime hour on 97.3 The Fan. Thanks again for joining us today on the Braden Surprenant Show. And remember, in just an hour to listen to us at 1 o'clock for us to announce today's biggest fan for a chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a future Padres game with all of the fan staff. Register your name at 97throughthefansd.com/biggest fan in order to potentially have your name called. Joining us now, as all guests do on 97 Through the Fan, they join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. He is the CEO of Sports San Diego, and he had a big announcement yesterday that coincided with, obviously, the Padres' big announcement also. Right back and forth, a lot of big news and notes around San Diego in the sports world. His name is Mark Neville. He joins us on the Braden Surprenant Show to talk about some exciting news about the Radies Children's Invitational for 2026. Mark, what's going on? How's your Friday?
Friday's going great, Braden. And, in just a couple weeks, we got your alma mater coming here for the Rady Children's Invitational. And the only reason we got them was for you. So I'm assuming you're going to be there, right?
That's right. I'm going to be, that and trying to volunteer as much of my time with them as possible with the Redcoats. And it's great to see the Frogs in town. Looking forward to that. But you have some exciting news about the field for 2026 before we talk about the field in a couple of weeks for 2025. What was the big news yesterday? It sounds like we got some teams coming in that are going to be some other big names, another big home run for you guys in filling out this bracket.
The Rady Children's Invitational, it truly has become one of the premier early season college basketball tournaments. And we were very excited to announce that next year's field in 2026, we have UCLA, Texas, Georgetown, and St. Mary's. And that is going to be an incredible field. It's going to sell very quickly. And one that, we keep getting better and better with this tournament. And that field, it wouldn't surprise me, of all the 4-team tournaments in the country, it will be the best.
Let's talk about, and we've talked about this before, but for a refresher, since it is going to happen in a couple of weeks here for the 2025 one, how did this come about, creating a tournament, here in San Diego, a Thanksgiving holiday tournament for college basketball, putting all the working parts? I mean, how did this come about, and how are you guys able to make this happen a couple of years ago?
So with Sports San Diego, and we launched Sports San Diego in early in 2022, but for decades before that, we ran the Holiday Bowl. And in 2018, and we always did the Holiday Bowl, but every once in a while we'd do other events. And one other event that we did in 2018 was the Navy Notre Dame football game. It was the last sellout at the old stadium. It was a huge success. And as our board was talking, they realized that, we can do a lot more for the community. Sports tourism is a huge industry, and we wanted to do more. And so one of the things that has always been on my mind since I've been working here over the last 35 years is producing a college basketball tournament. I love college basketball, and board was totally into it. So we went to work on it. It's a Thanksgiving day and the Friday after Thanksgiving, which is a need period for tourism. We're a nonprofit. Our whole purpose is to drive tourism demand. And using sports as a platform. This is a perfect fit. We just didn't want to come out lightly with it. We wanted to be one of the best. Rady Children's Hospital came on board with us, and I could not ask for a better partner for this tournament. It really makes this event, I think, the most special of the early season tournaments in the entire country. And the fields that we've been getting have been pretty spectacular. The first 2 champions of our event Oklahoma in 2023 in the inaugural event. Last year we had Purdue win the tournament. And then this year we have the defending national champions coming, the Florida Gators. And it's been so popular. We started this at UC San Diego's Lion Tree Arena. We sold out very early last year, so we moved it to a bigger venue over to Jenny Craig Pavilion at USD. And that is selling well. And the tournament is continuing to get better and better. And our volunteers are, like Braden Surprenant, are absolutely killing it for us. And this event is very important for San Diego and very important for our organization.
Well, so we're going to talk about the the field this year, and if people still haven't gotten tickets yet, or if you even have a chance, we'll talk about that in a second. But is this the one in 2026? Is that going to continue at the Jenny Craig Pavilion?
That is the plan for now. Yes.
Okay, so that is the plan.
At Jenny Craig Pavilion. Yep.
And obviously, I know you guys are always looking for different venues, everything like that, but everything comes back to tourism. So let's talk about this year's field a little bit. I mean, obviously, in a couple of weeks, you mentioned Florida and TCU and Wisconsin all coming to town for the Rady's Children Invitational. It was a great time last time out as well. Any chances for people to still be able to attend that might be just be hearing about this event for the first time?
Yes, but get your tickets now. With the announcement of next year's field, so anyone who has tickets for this year has priority for next year. And so it is very possible, if you don't get your tickets for this year, that you can get locked out for next year's field with UCLA, Texas, Georgetown, and St. Mary's. So I encourage people, if you are interested in this event, and I will tell you, I've been with this organization now for 35 years. This basketball tournament may be the best event we've ever produced. It is spectacular. The entertainment and the fan zone area and the basketball itself, it truly is second to none. And so I encourage everybody, go to RadyChildren'sInvitational.com. Get those tickets now so you can lock yourself in for 2026 as well.
We're talking with Mark Neville, who is the CEO of Sports San Diego, and they do a great job of trying to bring tourism to San Diego. And, some parts of the year that aren't as flooded with tourism, and they do it around sports, and they're doing it with the Rady's Children Invitational. That's coming up on November 27th and 28th of this year. Florida, Providence, TCU, and Wisconsin. What can you tell us about the teams in this field a little bit more detailed than kind of some of the hints that you have already dropped?
Well, it was funny. There was something that posted. It's kind of gone viral, I believe. But Florida has, and he got into the game yesterday, the tallest player ever to play college basketball. He's 7 feet 9 inches tall, and he's on the Florida roster. I don't know how he sits in an airplane, but he will be there. But Florida, defending national champions, they're preseason ranked third. They just lost to Arizona in a pretty incredible game, in a neutral site game, and then won big last night. Wisconsin, another one of the top 25 teams in the field. Wisconsin is going to be bringing a lot of people to San Diego. It's going to be a lot of red in that building. I think of the 4 teams, they are bringing the most people. Providence, there's a really high expectations. There weren't a year ago or so, but now Providence out in Big East. Big East is really strong, and Providence is supposed to be near the top of that conference, so they'll be good. And then you got the TCU Horned Frogs. How can you go wrong with the Frogs?
That's right.
Right?
Absolutely. Nothing more needs to be said about that. We're talking with Mark Neville, CEO of Sports San Diego, about announcing the field for next year. That's not the only event you guys put on. You guys got a lot of stuff going on. I do want to talk about the Holiday Bowl, but coming up not too long from now, you guys have the Holiday Bowl blood drive. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, the blood drive is coming up. God, what is the date on that? I don't have it in front of me. It caught me off guard.
November 20th.
But it's November 20th. Thank you. It's going to be over at Snapdragon Stadium. This is really important. It's something that's dear to my heart. This time of year, there's a high demand for blood, and it's easy to do. And we're making it even easier. We're in a central location there on November 20th at Snapdragon Stadium. So you can go to our other website and check out all the information on the blood drive. And again, at Snapdragon Stadium on November 20th, and hope that you'll help others because there are many out there in need.
Let's talk about the Holiday Bowl real quick, Mark. Obviously, this is the nitty-gritty time for a lot of conferences, dueling it out for college football playoff spots and bowl bids and everything like that. Please remind all of the listeners kind of how the process works in the last year of having a deal with the Pac-12 and the ACC and where everything stands. I know you're busy running so many different tournaments and trying to keep an eye on stuff. Seems like it's a lot easier now with Zoom and everything. You don't have to travel around the country as much. But what's the update on the Holiday Bowl that's going to be in January this year? A little bit different than in the past.
Yeah, first time in our history going into January 2nd, Friday. Very excited about that, and on Fox broadcast television. And this is the time of year where we're looking at everything. I enjoy reading all the projections about which teams are going to be playing in our game. It really doesn't even matter because I can guess myself, but I think I've been wrong nearly every time about a month out. So we have a lot of great teams though that are in our picture right now. So very excited about the matchups for San Diego. I think it's going to be a great one. Regardless, we know the event's going to be fantastic. Whether it's the Rady Children's Invitational or the Holiday Bowl, these are important events for San Diego. I talked about how our purpose is to drive tourism demand, put people in our hotels, in our restaurants, help support jobs, create tax revenues, put people in our attractions. It's very important. And so, but we do need the support of the community. Sport has an amazing knack for building community. And I've talked about this a lot lately. When you go to a Padres game, everyone's rallying behind the Padres, regardless of where you are politically, what you look like. It's a way that unites our entire community. SDFC this weekend, it's going to unite our community. These games, the Holiday Bowl, the Rady Children's Invitational, they do the same thing. They build community, and these are important events for our communities. So we hope your listeners will consider joining us on Thanksgiving and January 2nd.
And Mark, we appreciate the time and everything that you do and Sports San Diego does as well to bring major events to San Diego. You guys have done a great job bringing so many different events and very creative events too that I think a lot of local fans don't even realize are potentially on the radar with soccer games and now NASCAR. And I'm sure you guys are working on a bunch of other stuff that we won't know
rugby,
about for a while.
Other football, all other stuff, but you can go to sportssandiego.org. You can see everything there, blood drive information and a bunch of other stuff. It's you can even sign up to volunteer for NASCAR San Diego weekend next year. So we got a lot on our plate, but it's all just to benefit San Diego. Everything we're doing is to make San Diego better.
Mark, appreciate the time as always. Look forward to talking to you again for another major announcement that you guys like to make.
You got it. Thanks a lot, Braden.
Mark Neville joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show, setting us up on Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. They do a great job. I mean, and again, as mentioned before, everything that Sports San Diego does is to benefit San Diego. And then they've done that with the Rady Children's. They've done it with the Holiday Bowl. They've helped with bringing NASCAR here to San Diego. They've done all of those international friendlies, those European friendlies here in San Diego for soccer and rugby, and they do a lot of youth things as well, and it's great. And here's the other thing too, like I hear a lot of people complain about, like, well, why isn't San Diego State in this tournament? Well, that's not bringing people here now, is it, Frank? No, they're already here. You're trying to get people to San Diego. That's why, I mean, it's not like a tournament that's supposed to benefit the local teams. It's a tournament to try to drive people to San Diego on a vacation through sports. It's creating sports trips to San Diego.
A couple of Big East, teams coming here with Providence and then Georgetown next year. I know a couple of people that would come if you find a way to get Seton Hall out here.
I know they got good relationships with a lot of these conferences. And here's the thing, like, what makes the Rady's Children's Invitational really appealing for a lot of schools, it's like these schools don't want to play in these 8-team double elimination brackets anymore. You're playing like 3 or 4 games in a weekend. That's too much. They want to get the 2 games in and they want to get out. And that's what you do with this tournament. Play good competition, not have to travel way too far. San Diego is in, easy destination to get to with an international airport. It's not like you have to fly to Hawaii, right? For a lot of these schools, the travel's not as far. And you get good competition for a couple of days, and that's it. And you get to move on. That's what makes this tournament so appealing and why they're going to continue to get major players in this Thanksgiving tournament.
Yours poked up with the volunteering with the NASCAR.
Yeah, you got super excited for that.
Yours perked up a little bit with that.
Super excited. Super excited.
If we can't do a show from the race on Friday, I would love to be a part of that.
Last year, Oklahoma won the first ever Rady's Children event in 2023. Purdue captured the crown. 2 years ago, Oklahoma won. Purdue won last year. This year, it's Florida, Providence, TCU, and Wisconsin. And then UCLA,
Texas, Georgetown,
St. Mary's.
And St. Mary's.
I want to say Seton Hall was in the first one, dude.
Oh, was it?
I think so. I got to go look up Rady's Children's Invitational. I'm pretty sure they were the first one. If you look at the previous teams that were in it. Last year was last year's the Arkansas, BYU, Notre Dame, and Purdue. And I think the first year had Oklahoma, and I'm pretty sure they also had Seton Hall in it. Let me go look at the Wikipedia page. I can't remember off the top of my head. 2023? Yeah. 2023, Oklahoma, Iowa, Seton Hall, and USC.
Oh, well, there you go. Missed that then.
Come on, man. You know what? Maybe they'll come back.
Yeah, maybe.
So in that tournament, semifinals November 27th, championship November 28th. On Thanksgiving, Florida's going to take on TCU. Wisconsin's going to play Providence. That's going to be on Fox Sports 1. The championship game will be on Fox as well as the third place game. The winners of those two games will play each other in the championship, and the losers of those two games will play each other in the consolation game.
And yeah, he was not kidding. That kid from Florida legitimately is 7'9".
He's massive.
He's a giant of a human being.
I saw him as a high school kid. I think like a Max Preps viral videos popped up a couple of times with him. He's ginormous. 7'9".
That's insane.
He's a foot taller than a lot of the big men at 6'9", right?
Yes.
So like, think about like a 6'9" individual. How many times is that guy looking up and seeing somebody a foot taller than them?
He is
never.
He is 3 inches taller than Yao Ming.
Yao Ming's never had to look up at somebody ever in his life, unless he ran into that. You know, what's the tallest man in the world? Like 8 foot something.
I believe so. Yeah.
It's like you run into these people all the time. Not walking down the street.
Right.
7'9" is
Yao Ming was
crazy.
7'6", right?
I don't know.
That was his listed height. I think.
I guess that was a monster. Shaq's what, 7 foot something? 7'9" is a large human being.
Yeah, Yao Ming is listed as 7'6".
Aztec football will resume tomorrow. They got Hawaii. Here's everything you need to know about the game when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 12:23. It's already 12 o'clock. This holiday season, too many San Diegos will go hungry. Join 97 through the Fan and support the San Diego Food Bank. Donate food directly online through our Odyssey San Diego Food Fund, where every donation helps feed local families. Go to 97throughthefansd.com and give today. We want to get to our midday sports standoff if we can. Need a contestant for that. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. If you could take me down in some sports trivia, you would be able to qualify to see Sammy Hagar as he returns to Las Vegas with his Best of All Worlds Las Vegas residency. Get ready to rock with your favorite hits from the Van Halen years, Sammy solo hits, and more. Only in Las Vegas this March 11th through the 21st and September 18th through the 26th at Dolby Live at Park MGM. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Frank has a trivia question for you in the 1 o'clock hour to win a pair of tickets to the Aztecs play Idaho State in basketball at Viejas Arena on Sunday, November 9th at 2 o'clock. We will get to that question in the 1 o'clock hour, and be sure to be tuned in at 1 o'clock as we announce today's biggest fan. All of that coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. Now, a couple of things for you. We do want to talk about Aztec football. We saw the injury report that was out. Some important players for the Aztecs were on the injury report. Nothing too serious, at least I don't think. I mean, obviously they lost Tana Latuli for the year. That's not great news. I knew a little bit about that over the weekend. Other things too, like they're doing a deal for Aztec. Are they still doing the flash sale? Aztec football, Frank? It's like $40.
I don't think that was a flash sale.
That's a current thing still?
I think that was a genuine sale. So this is for the Boise State game coming up next weekend. 2 for $40. So two Aztec football tickets for Boise State for $40.
That's great news.
Yes.
This is such a hard thing to talk about. I mean, like for San Diego State, they're between a rock and a hard place just because it's like you already had people that are season ticket holders that had to pay a ton of money for season ticket seats, and then it's not enough. It's like it's too much, and they can't resell it either. So now they have to now they're undercut. If they lower the prices, they're going to undercut the people that they have that are loyal season ticket holders. But Jim Desmond, who, I mean, he got involved and wrote a letter to San Diego State about lowering ticket prices. I think San Diego State responded to that. We'll talk about that later. But it's kind of, everybody wants to see more people at the games. But a lot of the ticket prices are just, people can't afford it. It's crazy. All right. Aztecs and Hawaii football on the road. San Diego State has owned this matchup. Aztecs have won 5 straight, 11 of the last 13, and 20 of their last 24 against Hawaii, including last year's 27-24 win at Snapdragon Stadium. This week's game in Honolulu was supposed to be the final meeting for Aztecs. We're going to leave to the Pac-12, but the schools have announced a new home-and-home series. Aztecs will host Hawaii in 2028. They will travel to Oahu in 2029. 7-1, San Diego State, 4-0 in the Mountain West Conference. 7.5-point favorite has now dropped to a 6.5-point favorite as we'll make our college picks in the 1 o'clock hour over Hawaii, who's 6-3 and 3-2 for Saturday night's game at Clarence T.C. Ching Complex. Head coach of the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors is Timmy Chang in his 3rd season. He's done a really good job, I think, in his 3rd year at Hawaii. The legendary former Hawaii quarterback who set NCAA passing records in the early 2000s, slowly rebuilding the program he once starred for. Facilities are still a major challenge. The team plays in a 15,000-seat on-campus complex. It's temporary until Aloha Stadium,
the new one gets built. And it's temporary since Aloha Stadium was condemned in 2020. A new stadium of 22,500 seats is finally scheduled for 2029, but until then, Hawaii remains the smallest home field environment in the FBS. After going 3-10, 5-8, and 5-7 his first 3 years, Chang finally has Hawaii trending up, now 6-3, and already bowl eligible, which likely plans for the Hawaii Bowl. Offense is a run and shoot. They have 29.7 points per game. That's 60th in the FBS. They average 307
passing yards per game, which is 7th in the country, and they have a 97% red zone scoring, 5th best in the country. They spread the field, they sling it around, and they stress out defenses vertically. Their quarterback, Micah Alahado, is a freshman. He's 199 for 302, 2,124 passing yards, 15 touchdowns, 6 picks. He has been electric, poised beyond his years, great anticipation, excellent under pressure. As head coach Sean Lewis said, he keeps his eyes downfield. He's unfazed by pressure, and he can drop dimes even when everything's collapsing. He's got a quick release, off-script creativity, mobile in the pocket. His weakness, though, he does turn the ball over. Hawaii has 15 giveaways, which is a 116th in the country. That's been a common theme for the teams that the Aztecs have played in the Mountain West Conference, Frank.
Yeah, they've a lot of turnovers. There's a couple of things. I mean, me being the wonderful Hawaii head coach I have, I've got one loss with Hawaii. I have not started Alejado. I started his backup, Davis, who was wearing number 20, which is amazing to me.
You just got something for quarterbacks that have obscure numbers.
Oh, God, yeah. I love it.
Is that where you're taking BYU this week?
No. I don't know. Are we picking BYU this week?
I'm not picking BYU this week.
But we're picking the game.
We are picking the game,
okay.
Yes. BYU, Texas Tech, 7 versus 8 or 8 versus 9, whatever it is. Yeah, we're picking that game. The best two teams in the Big 12.
The biggest problem, and this is why we call it a trap game, is because, and it's nothing new for these Aztecs. They do it every other year, but that's a long travel.
It's like flying to the East Coast. You're just going the opposite way.
And the last time the Aztecs had a long travel, they won, but it was 6-3. It was a slug of a game. So it's going to be, as you said, it's going to be the last real trap game that San Diego State has before their last real difficult game in Boise State when they come here to Snapdragon in 2 weeks.
The game's going to be on ABC 10.
Yes, the game will be on
locally here
ABC
in San
10.
Diego. Will be on ABC 10. It got picked up by the local ABC affiliate. Usually just, Hawaii has their own game slots. This is late at night for a lot of the networks. I mean, it's going to be a late game, to watch on Saturday. As for the offensive notes for Hawaii, Landon Sims, a running back, is a do-it-all weapon, versatile back, runs and catches equally well, 439 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, also has 30 catches for 231 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hawaii runs tempo and spacing, a new age run and shoot, they like to call it. They can score fast, but Alejo gets hit early and rattled. Things can snowball. That has been the case for every quarterback that we've talked about in the last 3 weeks.
Yes.
And that's exactly what the Aztecs have done defensively. Now, for Hawaii's defense, they've allowed 26.6 points per game. That's 80th, middle of the pack, but improving. 132.2 rushing yards allowed per game, 47th in the country. Solid against the run, which is a big factor for Aztec football. It's their 3-headed monster. Elite pass rush for the defense for Hawaii. Top 10 nationally in pressure rate without blitzing. This is a front that can disrupt without sending extra bodies, a challenge for San Diego State's offensive line. Now, the thing that is interesting, Kensei Tokyoto Matsuzawa is their kicker. He might be the best kicker in college football you've never heard of. 21 for 21 on field goals this season, long of 52. He is a former soccer player from Tokyo who learned kicking from YouTube videos 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? That's going to be fun to watch. There's a lot of matchups to watch for in this particular game. We're going to talk more about that with the guest here in a second. But my things to watch: Aztecs pressure against Alajado's poise. Aztecs thrive on defensive disruption. Hawaii thrives on quick decisions. Whoever wins that chess match might control the game on Saturday. Turnover battle. Hawaii turns the ball over a ton. You've got to force turnovers to make them have to play behind the 8 ball. Aztecs defense is built to capitalize. San Diego State's defense is one of the best in the country. They do a great job of shutting out opponents. They've shut out numerous opponents. They've allowed the least, third least amount of points on the season at anybody in college football. That's a good defense. How many turnovers they have against Wyoming? I mean, they were Wyoming was a turnover machine. Hawaii is a turnover machine. Hopefully, San Diego State's defense are licking their chops, getting ready to take on this Hawaii offense. That's going to be a big factor in Saturday's game. If Hawaii hangs on to the ball, it might be a little bit different for San Diego State. Again, you're trying to find all these ways to win this game on Saturday because it is kind of a trap game for people outside. I'm sure for the Aztecs, they're locked in. Tempo and stamina. Hawaii likes to, it's a run and shoot. They like to get on the ball and let's go. They love to speed up their defense as they go against. San Diego State needs to try to control a little bit of time of possession and grind it out. You know what? Give the ball to Lucky Sutton. Give the ball to Byron Cardwell. Give the ball to Christian Washington. Have those guys in the backfield get 3 or 4 yards a pop, control the pace. You don't have to get into a shootout with Hawaii. The last thing to watch for is how the travel and the environment affects San Diego State on Saturday. Trip to Honolulu always brings a different narrative, a different vibe. A lot of distractions. The time zone's different. You got humidity out there on the islands. It always feels like teams are on vacation because it's a major vacation destination. It's hard to win in Hawaii. San Diego State's got to still treat it like a business trip. Again, this is a place where you don't, you're there for more than just a day. It's not like the usual travel. It's a lot of differences. So we will get a full preview of Hawaii and San Diego State when we come back, as we are joined by Christian Shimabuku. Shimabuku writes for the Aloha State Daily. He'll give us a full preview of what to expect from Hawaii, Aztecs in Hawaii when we come back, plus need contestants for the Midday Sports Standoff. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour Sports Talk is brought to you by SD Collectibles. Get ready, sports and Pokemon collectors. SD Collectibles Card Show is back at Liberty Station with over 100 vendor tables November 22nd, 23rd. Find sports cards, Pokemon, memorabilia, and more. Visit sdcollectibles.com for info. That's sdcollectibles.com. Joining us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. He covers Hawaii football. He writes for the Aloha State Daily. His name is Christian Shimabuku, and he joins us to give us a preview of the Aztecs and Rainbow Warriors coming up on Saturday night. Christian, what's going on? How's your Friday going?
It's great. Thanks a lot for having me. It's another beautiful day in Hawaii. We call it Aloha Friday here. So, yeah, I can't complain, man.
Never can complain. When you get to live by the get to live on an island by the coast, we get to experience some of the same weather. It's great. It's great covering sports and great places to live. Let's talk about the Rainbow Warriors and what they have done under Timmy Chang in his 3 seasons already, or now his 4th season as the head coach. What's the vibe like with the community behind the Timmy Chang-led Hawaii Rainbow Warriors?
Yeah, I think, when Timmy Chang took over in 2022, it was no secret that, the cupboard was pretty empty, right? This was coming off the fallout of the Todd Grant era, which I think from the jump, that was a head scratcher for a lot of people here. So Timmy Chang and his staff had to bring in 53 newcomers. And that's a number that always stands out to me because that's the size of an NFL roster. And so, it really took them time to build up this team and this program. And I think this year's team is finally the year that, they feel like, this is kind of their team with a roster that belongs to them. And they've already gained bowl contention for the first time in a few years. And, that's something that I think a lot of people can be excited about. But it's always been a goal of this team to win a Mountain West championship. And, those hopes are hanging by a thread after losing to San Jose State last week. I think they're going to need a lot of help in the standings. And so that just makes tomorrow's game that much more important for them.
Yeah, a very important game for both Hawaii and San Diego State. The nice win to get the season started, beating Stanford, and then a tough trip to Tucson to take on the Arizona Wildcats. Hard-fought loss to Fresno State by just 2 points at home. And then again, you mentioned last week against San Jose State. Overall, what is your evaluation of this Hawaii team and what you think they've done and accomplished in 2025 to kind of play off of what you really said about them over the last couple of years under Timmy Chang?
Yeah, I think, when you look at their record, it's kind of like however the expression goes, shoot for the stars, land on the moon kind of thing, where, as much as they want to win a Mountain West championship, I think getting to a bowl game was a key step in their progression. And to answer your question, I think your previous question, I think, the vibes around the program have been really good under Timmy Chang. It's a very family-based and faith-based program. And so, I think, tomorrow's game is going to be very telling in terms of, where they're at as a program. Are they ready to take that next step? And, San Diego State comes in as the best team in the conference, the top team in the standings. And so this is just going to be a tremendous test for them.
What's the update on the future stadium for Hawaii before we dive deeper into this roster? I mean, obviously they're playing on campus right now in a 15,000 seat complex that was supposed to be temporary. That's going to be a little bit longer. It sounds like maybe 2029 for a new stadium. I know there was a lot of different things working out when they condemned Aloha Stadium back in 2020. But what's the latest on Hawaii and a permanent home for their football program?
Yeah, man, your research is spot on. They did have a condemned Aloha Stadium. So the stadium they're playing on now is on the University of Hawaii campus, and it's a very makeshift operation. This is where the track team used to compete, and the football team would practice. Sometimes it wasn't even their main practice field, and they had to retrofit it where, it's a functional stadium. And a lot of these additions to the game day experience were last minute. So if you ever come to a game down here, there's no like real bathrooms. There's like porta potties. The parking situation is pretty hectic because, again, it's not meant to hold that many people. But Hawaii has made do with it. And like you said, the new Aloha Stadium, it's right now, the estimated date is the spring of 2029. And it's going to be they're going to build at the existing Aloha Stadium. They're going to dismantle the current Aloha Stadium and build a new stadium that seats just about 22,500 seats, which is about half of what it was before. And I think that number is a little disappointing to people, but I think we're seeing a trend in college football where, you don't really fill the seats as much anymore. And I think just for these guys to have a legitimate stadium is going to be a big deal for them for sure.
We're talking with Christian Shimabuku. Sorry about that again. Christian Shimabuku, who writes for the Aloha State Daily, covering Hawaii football. With the stadium situation and everything played out with Hawaii as they try to, keep pace in this day and age. And to me, Hawaii and San Diego State, very similar when it comes to recruiting and when it comes to college football. Both in markets that have really good high school football, trying to keep as many of those kids as possible. Got Power 4 schools knocking on the door. How has this affected recruiting? And how has Hawaii done with keeping kids from Kahuku and St. Louis and Mililani and some of the better teams out there in Hawaii?
Yeah, those are the three powerhouse programs right there, man. That's awesome, those schools. But yeah, like you said, Hawaii's competing with those teams every year in terms of, Hawaii, I think if they really had their way, they would have a roster that's almost all Hawaii guys just because there's that much talent in the state. But, naturally kids want to experience new things and play for schools with more resources and whatnot. But that's always going to be the backbone of their recruiting is trying to get the local kids. I think part of that too is at a place like Hawaii, taking chances on guys that have good tools, but maybe, don't have the production yet, or maybe got injured throughout their high school career. And some of those guys are the guys that are shining on the field for them right now. I think a great example for them is one of their best receivers, Pofeli Ashlock, who was a Tongan kid from Texas. Didn't have any offers out of high school. Hawaii takes a chance on him, and they really develop him into an all-conference type of receiver. And yeah, when you look at the roster, it's just full of guys that, they kind of zag while others zig. But like you said, I think the priority for them is always local recruiting.
What can you tell us about this offense? I mean, it's a run and shoot offense. It's returned to Hawaii, 60th in the FBS in points per game. They do air it out a little bit, 307.6 passing yards per game, which is 7th in the country. What can you tell us about this offense that's led by Micah Alahado?
Yeah, this is a very happy offense, and it's going to be a really interesting and intriguing matchup between this excellent San Diego State defense. Redshirt Mike Alahado is a redshirt freshman. He's a guy that they really recruited hard out of Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas. Had a lot of roots in Hawaii, grew up here as a kid and then moved there for high school. He's not the tallest guy in the world. He's probably around 5'10" with cleats on, but he's very savvy, very smart with the ball. He has a very smooth left-handed release. And he's really been, the ringleader in this offense and the tone setter. And this team has really, from the spring, these coaches have really invested a lot in him in terms of, giving him the lion's share of the reps in practice just to make sure that, he's in sync with all these receivers. And, the type of season he's having and just being a freshman, I think, he's a guy that Hawaii fans are really excited about. And if he does spend all 4 of his years here, which in college football, that's never a guaranteed thing anymore in this day and age. But I think he's on pace to be one of those memorable Hawaii quarterbacks that people can think about, just in terms of, the numbers he's putting up and the legacy that, he could leave behind here.
Last thing for you, Christian. How do you think this game's going to play out? What does Hawaii need to do to win on Saturday?
Yeah, I think there's times where the Hawaii offense, they do get a little bit careless with the ball. And when you play a team like San Diego State with their defense, you really can't do that. I'm not going to make a full prediction because I'm really bad at it. There's a running joke in local media that I'm really bad with predictions. But I'll give a semi-prediction that I think this game will kind of be a close one in terms of like a 1-possession game where, the loser of the game, whoever it is, feels like they should have had the game. So it's going to be one of those. But I just think when you look at the matchup history of these teams, San Diego State has really had Hawaii's number lately. And then for 4 straight years, San Diego State has won by 1 possession. And so I think you're just going to see that type of game again where it does come down to one or two scores. I think Hawaii is, as a school and as a program, is really hyping up this matchup because it's a sold-out game. It's also the national chase game, which is really interesting. It's the last game in the country to kick off. And Hawaii really likes marketing that as like to get more eyeballs and exposure and, for fans to get their final college fix of the day and maybe for the degenerates to cheer for one of these 2 teams and maybe cash their last bet in if that's something that they want to do. That's going to be the last game where they can do that. So, yeah, I think it'll be a really fun environment and a really competitive game. And I'm really sorry I couldn't give you a full prediction. It just wouldn't serve anyone well if I did that.
The local media does not think that Christian can make good predictions out there in Hawaii. That is hilarious, man. Enjoy the game. We'll be, we're the sickos out here on this show that like to stay up for the, quote, Hawaii test every single week. So now we got a even more incentive to watch it with them playing San Diego State. Thanks again for the preview. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, and I'm truly, really impressed with all your Hawaii references. That was really cool, man.
Absolutely. I coach high school football. We got guys on the staff from Hawaii. We got guys on the staff that played at Hawaii. So I'm well in tune with the Hawaii high school football environment. Kahuku having a good year. St. Louis seems like they're back. Sounds like some fun high school football out there in Hawaii right now.
Yeah, man. Hawaii high school football is its own thing. You can definitely compare it culture-wise to all the big states where people do take it really seriously and take a lot of pride in their schools and their communities. So that's a really good thing. That's a really cool thing. And I think with that comes a lot of college recruiters coming to town. And I think the neat part of it is even if kids aren't playing for Hawaii, a lot of the local fans here will cheer them on no matter where they end up.
That's really good. You probably don't know that I know that Punahou is called the Buff and Blue either. How about that? Got you with all the Hawaii high school football knowledge. I'm well untapped with what's going on in Hawaii when it comes to high school football. Christian, we got to take a break, so I appreciate the time. We'll talk to you again.
Awesome, man. You're the man. Buff and Blue, that's a great reference. Great pull right there.
Thank you very much. Thanks again to Christian Shimabuku for joining us on the show to give us a preview of the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. I get the updates all the time. I mean, one of the guys I coach with, Preston Faremo, played at Hawaii. So I get all the local ties there. One of our other coaches that we have, Coach Kona, who ended up playing at USD. He played at St. Louis out in Hawaii. I'm well inclined. I know what's going on. And the Hawaii playoffs that are going on right now. They start their playoffs way earlier, but Kahuku is one of the better teams out there for sure. Kahuku played Mater Dei pretty tight. Not Mater Dei Chula Vista, but Mater Dei Santa Ana. They lost to Mater Dei 21-18 over here on the continental United States. So I know what's going on in Hawaii high school football. When we come back, what's going on in fantasy football? Get your lineups ready to go with Eddie Brown. Santa Ana Union Tribune joins us next. Braden Surprenant Show. Are we sure today's Friday? It feels like a Thursday since we kicked everything to today.
Brother, it's been flying. That's all I can tell you.
That's been flying by. It's 1 o'clock, Frank. You know what that means. It's not nap time. That's better. You're an hour late to lunch. Rod, you're probably 2 hours late to lunch. Rod had lunch like 2 hours ago.
Come on.
It's time to flip our screen back. Bang.
Yes,
Got it. All right. It's time for the biggest fan contest. You have 10 minutes to call in to be qualified for the biggest fan contest. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Today's biggest fan is Beatrice Cabanas. Beatrice Cabanas in Bonita. You are today's biggest fan. You have 10 minutes to call us to be qualified for the biggest fan contest. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Beatrice, you are today's biggest fan. Beatrice Cabanas, Cabanas, in Bonita. Give us a call the next 10 minutes, and you will qualify for today's biggest fan. Now, we do have a guest, so we're not going to be able to get to them.
I was going to say, just hang on the line. I have the timer. Beatrice, if you call, I will note. I think she might actually be calling.
That might
now.
That might be that. Just stay on hold.
Yeah, it's the last. Hold on, the last name. So let's try to get this done quick here.
Yeah, stay on hold. All right, she's calling. She's in the YouTube chat, all excited. What's eerie about it? She said she called this like 2 days ago. She said, "See you tomorrow," but she qualified. Say, we went 4 for 5 this week, huh? 4 for 5 on the biggest fan.
4 for 5. I think she beat. Who was it? I think it was the second caller.
Oh, in terms of like fastest to call in?
In terms of fastest, yeah. Might have done it by a couple seconds.
Congratulations, Beatrice. Got the dub today. So we went 4 for 5. That's great.
Yeah, we're 4 for 5. Ben and Woods are 4 for 5. Their caller missed today. And the best the afternoon show could do is 3 for 5.
All right. Up there with the leaders. Let's get you up on the leaderboard of your fantasy football teams as we are now joined by Eddie Brown, who joins us on the David P. Shapiro fan hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with the crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. All right, Eddie, had to, move things around a little bit. Happy Friday to you. Don't really talk to you on Fridays as much. What's going on?
Yeah, no, happy Friday. Just, getting ready for the weekend and settling in for hopefully another good weekend of football.
I haven't really been able to talk to you like recap wise of like the day before, because we usually do this on the day that they have NFL games on a Thursday. What was the biggest fantasy takeaway from last night's Raiders Broncos game?
Just how embarrassingly bad those offenses were. Like I watched, if you watch Thursday Night Football on Prime, they offer multiple views, and one of the views is kind of what I call the Madden view, and it's pretty much the all 22 view of the game, which I think is a really cool way to watch football. And just from the Raiders' perspective, they could not block anybody, especially Nick Bonito. He just completely wrecked that offense, almost single-handedly, but not really, because the whole Broncos defense is just, fantastic. And on the Broncos side of the ball, Nick's just, he when he does not set his feet, he is one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. When he sets his feet, he's a fantastic option at quarterback. But when he doesn't, he's inaccurate. He just missed guys last night, and it kind of wrecked that entire offense. I think they had pretty much one good drive. But from a fantasy perspective, unless you had like Troy Franklin, you probably weren't happy, or the Broncos defense.
Let's start, Eddie, with the Packers to move on into Week 10. Tucker Kraft's season-ending ACL opens the door now for Luke Musgrave. You wrote that he flashed real upside as a rookie before injury set him back. Do you see Musgrave as a legit late-season difference maker, or more of a matchup-based streamer?
No, I think there's a chance that he is a difference maker, and I don't think people are seeing him that way. I just checked right before I jumped on here, and he was available in pretty much 99% of leagues, obviously, coming into the week. He's still available in upwards of 85% of leagues. So people aren't jumping. They didn't like rush to the waiver wire. It wasn't like a Black Friday situation on the waiver wire to pick him up. I think, they draft, a lot of people forget, but they actually drafted him ahead of Kraft. Both those guys were talented coming out of college. I love Kraft coming out of, I believe it was North Dakota State or South Dakota State. It's one of those Dakotas. And yeah, and I love Musgrave coming out of Oregon State. He actually went 36 picks ahead of Kraft. So the talent was there for both guys. The Packers genuinely, obviously, like both of them. I think they planned on using both of them early on, but like you said, Musgrave, dealt with some injuries, and Kraft has pretty much just established himself as one of the better tight ends in the NFL. It's unfortunate that he suffered that injury. I know I had him in pretty much like 80% of my leagues. So I went out and I got Musgrave in any league I can. So I think there's a chance that, it's hard. Kraft set a pretty good standard, so it's going to be interesting if Musgrave can get to that point. But their offense is their offense. I don't think they're just all of a sudden going to start targeting the receivers all over the place. I think they're still going to give Musgrave a chance to step right into that role.
Alec Pierce has quietly become one of the most consistent deep threats in the league. 5 games, at least 67 yards, 6 catches for 115 against the Steelers. You mentioned his success against single high coverage this week in your article. How sustainable is this run, and does he have wide receiver 2 upside for fantasy playoffs?
Well, I think the thing about Pierce, and this goes for pretty much any player that's on a team that has a great offense like the Colts. Anytime you have an offense that's playing as well as the Colts, take away the 6 turnovers from last week against the Steelers. But anytime you have an offense that's playing that well, all of their principal weapons become viable in fantasy. Pierce was already flashing early on as the guy that Daniel Jones takes shots downfield to. Like you said, in single high, he just completely eats. I wrote about him a couple of weeks ago saying, hey, the next 2 weeks he's going up against the Steelers and the Falcons. Guess who plays single high the most in the NFL? The Steelers and the Falcons. And so I expected him to specifically pop last week and this week. This week I'm a little I forgot that the game was in Berlin. So I'm a little apprehensive about how that translates to, the travel and all that type of stuff. But I expected him to pop these last couple of weeks. And anytime that, they're going to take shots every week. So I think he's a viable flex week in and week out with upside. He's a guy who can smash. Basically, his floor is like 2 catches for 60 yards. And, I think his ceiling is something like we saw against the Steelers, where he can pop off for 5 or 6 catches for 120 yards and maybe a touchdown or 2.
We're talking with Eddie Brown, who's our fantasy football insider, writes for the San Diego Union Tribune, covers, does everything all fantasy sports as well as the NFL draft. Let's talk about quarterback streams. You had Sam Darnold, J.J. McCarthy, Marcus Mariota, even Joe Flacco on your list this week. All pretty wild names in 2025. Who's your favorite short-term play among those guys, and who's the stash that could actually carry fantasy teams into the playoffs?
Well, I think Darnold is still my short-term guy. And I think to the point that he just should be starting. If you have him on your roster, he probably should be starting for your team unless you have one of the top 3 or 4 or 5 guys in fantasy or in the NFL. So I'm talking like Allen or Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes or somebody to that effect. I'm stashing Flacco. Like until he shows otherwise, we're on our 3rd or 4th Joe Flacco renaissance.
Yes.
In Cincinnati. So like until he shows otherwise, that offense is just humming with him. He's getting the ball out. He's targeting those 2 receivers, those 2 top tier receivers. And he's even getting guys like Noah Fant involved, and he's revitalized Chase Brown. So as long as he's humming that way, that defense is going to force the Bengals to have to score a lot of points and keep their foot on the gas. So they're on a bye this week. The fantasy gods conspired against us and ripped the Cowboys defense and the Bengals defense away from us, so we can't target them this week. But when he comes back, this is probably a good opportunity to stash Flacco going forward. The other guy that I'm really interested in is McCarthy. He's not as efficient. He's not as dynamic as Jackson Dart, but he's kind of doing similar things. He's showing he might have a similar type of upside with his legs. That provides a really good floor in fantasy. And if you can find a quarterback that can do that, then that's a good place to start. So it'd be interesting to see how he continues to develop. I think Dart's obviously further away from him, but if Dart had the weapons that McCarthy has in Minnesota, man, I could imagine what his ceiling would be.
Let's talk about the Jaguar wide receiver situation. Parker Washington's been productive, but now the Jags just traded for Jacoby Myers. You've liked Washington's chemistry with Trevor Lawrence. Do you think he keeps his target share with Myers coming in, or should fantasy owners look to sell high right now?
Well, I think Thomas is going to be out this week, so I think and De'Ami Brown. So I think this week it's pretty much just going to be Washington and Myers. I don't think he just falls off. I think he like you said, I think he has a really good rapport with Lawrence. I don't think that's just going to fade away. I don't know how quickly Myers is going to, get up to speed. He's been there for a few days. He was literally talking trash to them less than a week ago on the same field. So it might take a little bit. Although this week the target share is just gonna have to be there. But it's a really bad matchup against the Texans. So I'm not sure I would be on either one of them this week. I think going forward though, Washington still has upside. I think they'll work Myers in. I'm a little, my expectations for Trevor Lawrence, I think I've been burned for the last time. I'm starting to kind of lose faith. It's, we're in like the 5th year of this. So I expected a big leap forward at some point, and we're just not getting there. So I'm a little apprehensive, but if Hunter's out for the rest of the season, and he may be, I'm not sure the Jags are going to be rushing him back anytime soon, then there might be enough targets for these guys to be viable and have flex appeal on a weekly basis.
You want to keep your running backs young as long as possible. Rookie and young running back watch here. Trey Benson could return soon. Tank Bigsby keeps flashing in Philly. Tajay Spears is quietly taking touches in Tennessee. Of that group, who's the rookie or young running back you'd bet on being fantasy relevant down the stretch?
That has to be Benson. He might not be back for another couple weeks, but now is the window to stash him. I think when he comes back, he's going to have that backfield to himself. I think the Cardinals have to see what they have in him. They've been working with a hodgepodge of like Bam Knight, Michael Carter, Mari DiMercado. Those guys have been serviceable. They've been okay. But none of them have the talent that Benson does or the dual threat ability. So I think he's the guy that could be a fantasy difference maker going down the stretch, especially when we get to the fantasy playoffs. I like Bigsby though to stash. If you have a spot on the back end of your bench, grab Bigsby. We've been talking about how Saquon, Barkley was going to have a hard time this season. And outside of the last game, he's had a difficult time and he just suffered a groin injury. I think he's fine to go this week, but it's just one of those things that if Barkley was to miss time, Tank Bigsby, he showed what he could do when he stepped in after Barkley hurt his groin. I think he popped off for like a little over 100 yards and less than 10 carries. So he has upside in that offense. And if he had the offense to himself, he could be a definite fantasy difference maker if Barkley ends up missing any time.
You mentioned it earlier, Eddie, about the defense, like streaming and Titans having to buy. No Titans to pick on this week. So you spotlighted the Bills, Browns, and Ravens as top defensive ads. Which one are you most confident in long-term? And do you still stand by your start whoever plays the Titans philosophy from earlier this season?
Yes, that's until
further notice.
Until further notice. That's the first thing you should do every week is just see who the Titans are playing and see if that defense is available on your waiver wire. But for as far as the Bills and Browns and Ravens, I think the Browns have the best overall defense out of that trio. The Ravens, if they're completely healthy, they showed last year that they can go from being a really suspect defense to like figuring it out. So they might do the same thing again this year. They're getting healthy over the last couple of weeks. They've looked pretty good. They got a pretty good matchup in McCarthy this week. We'll see how he handles that type of pressure. But I like the Browns this week, and I like the Browns going forward. We saw Myles Garrett had 5 sacks the last time they were on the field and was just furious. They had a bye, so I can only imagine the fury that he just unloaded on the rest of that building. And they have the Jets this week. Browns don't allow you to run the football. The Jets want to run the football. If they can't run the football, unfortunately for them, they'll have to try to pass the football. And that usually doesn't work out well. That's how you get sacks. That's how you get turnovers. So I like the Browns a lot this week. I like them going forward. I especially like them going forward when they're at home. This is one of the rare times when I'm really going to advocate for them on the road, but it's because of the matchup.
Eddie, appreciate the time as always. Have a good fantasy football weekend. Have a good weekend in general. Look forward to talking to you back on Thursday of next week.
I appreciate you, Braden. Take care.
Eddie Brown joining us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. He joins us every Thursday, and today's Friday, to give us everything you need to know about fantasy football going into the weekend. A lot of great football matchups in the NFL this weekend. Should be a fun time. College, a little bit different. There's not too many good college games this weekend. Like, I've tried to piece together games to pick, and it's been a little difficult sometimes. I mean, in fact, I'm going to change one right now.
We also have San Diego State tickets to give away.
We do have San Diego State tickets to give away. What is the trivia question to give away said San Diego State tickets?
All right. So if you want to win tickets to Sunday afternoon's game between
basketball.
San Diego State and Idaho State,
the Bengals,
call in with the answer to this question. Who led the San Diego State Aztecs in points per game last season? Who was San Diego State's points per game leader last year? Answer that right, 833-288-0973. You will win tickets to Sunday's game.
First one to call in and answer that question correctly. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Leading scorer in points per game for San Diego State basketball last season. You know it. Call in. First one to call in and answer correctly. You get to go to the Aztec game on Sunday as they host Idaho State. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll give you everything you need to know about the college football weekend. And then a little bit later, Drake Hills will join us and preview Portland and San Diego FC winner-go-home game for the playoffs in the MLS Cup. We'll talk about that to finish up the show as we continue on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. 122 on a Friday, football Friday for us here on 97.3 The Fan. Talked a lot about the Craig Stammen being announced as hasn't been officially announced as the guy yet in the press conference, but he has been announced by the Padres as the new manager for the San Diego Padres. Talked a lot about that yesterday. Talked about that in the first hour. Heard from Joe Musgrove about that. If you want to go back, you can go back and listen to it on wherever you get your podcasts and as well as YouTube and wherever we broadcast. We're broadcasting on Twitter again.
Yes, we are.
Which is great. Good to see. Thanks everybody out there that's watching on Twitter. They can. Let's talk some college football. Talked about college football. Right?
Yes.
Didn't get to talk about it all this week. Didn't even get to look at the college football playoff rankings yet. from earlier this week. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Alabama, the top 4. Georgia, Ole Miss, BYU, Texas Tech, Oregon, Notre Dame in the top 10. Texas, Oklahoma, Utah, Virginia, and Louisville in the top 15. Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech, Miami, USC, Iowa, Michigan, Missouri, Washington, Pittsburgh, and Tennessee. I don't know why Pittsburgh or Tennessee are ranked, but yes, here they are. ACC, Miami, representing the ACC, is 18th in the country. Yet a team they beat with the same record, Notre Dame, is 10 in the country. Why do these games matter, Frank? I mean, I understand, Notre Dame is probably playing better now than Miami is, but at the same time, you kidding me? I don't understand. People need to understand this. Notre Dame is always going to get the benefit of the doubt. And the other thing about Notre Dame, the benefit for Notre Dame, what this tells me is, it's better you want to schedule tough opponents at the beginning of the year and lose those games. You don't want to win those games. You want to lose those games and then beat up on bad opponents later in the year. And you will have a better chance of making the college football playoff than winning those games against those teams. And the best thing for Notre Dame is they play lousy teams at the end of the year because everybody's in conference play. Oh, we got to play ACC schools. Nice. NC State, Boston College, Syracuse, Stanford. They get Navy in there. They got to play Pitt. I guess that's kind of important. I almost feel like Pitt is ranked 24th just because Miami and Notre Dame have to play Pitt, give them another ranked win. Oh, they have to play USC. Nice. I mean, Notre Dame, their end of the season schedule, and I like making fun of the SEC just as much as everybody else does with the fact that they don't play anybody. But there's a massive difference between Oklahoma and how they finished the season in terms of opponents and Notre Dame. The last handful of games, this is how Oklahoma finishes the year. Texas, who they lost to, at South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri. Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri are all ranked, by the way. And then LSU to finish the season. Notre Dame, over the same stretch, what was that, the last 6 games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the last 7 games of the year. Last 7 games of the year for Notre Dame, NC State, USC, Boston College, Navy, Pitt, Syracuse, Stanford. It's better to lose those games at the beginning of the year than it is to win them at the beginning of the year is what it tells me. You look at Miami. Miami has not looked good in their last couple of weeks. They lost to SMU last week at home, on the road. They lost to Louisville by 3 at home. But they beat Notre Dame at the beginning of the season. They beat South Florida, who was ranked at the time. I mean, I didn't think Miami was that great in the grand scheme of things, but they're getting punished for something that Notre Dame's getting rewarded for. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand the college football playoff ratings committee. I just don't. And guess what? There's going to be a lot of teams that have 2 losses in there, and there's going to be some teams that might have 3 losses in there. I saw a tweet earlier this week in college football. I think it was College Football Reddit that had this, and this is this is a crazy finish. But they said, imagine what would happen if this is how the conference championships finished out. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
I got to go find it real quick. But here's what they had. It's like, could you imagine if this is the way the college football season ended? What would the committee do? Okay, imagine if the top 7 conference champions were this. Frank, you listening?
Yep.
13-0 BYU.
Okay.
12-1 Georgia Tech. 12-1 Memphis. 12-1 James Madison. 12-1 San Diego State. 10-3 Texas. 10-3 USC. Who's the top 4 conference champions? So the top 5 conference champions that they're going with. Texas and USC, they got to get a bye, right? They won the SEC and the Big Ten. They both have 3 losses, though.
Yes.
San Diego State, are you going to get 2 Group of 5 schools in there? You can't tell me the Big Ten and the SEC aren't getting their conference champion in there.
No, so it's going to be it'll be Ohio State's going to be in there. Let's throw Michigan in there because why not? Let's throw Clemson in there. We'll give them the legacy benefit of the doubt. LSU's had a really rough season. Maybe they can get something to pick their spirits up. Whoever finished second in the Big 12 and the ACC will do that. Throw Miami in there because why not?
Remember, automatic qualifiers, conference champion, top 5 get to go.
I don't know who the it would be Washington State.
No, the Cougs winning the Big Ten. I mean the Pac-12.
Yeah, because again, power. P stands for power.
Power Act 12. How about this though? No, that was it. BYU at 13-0, Georgia Tech at 12-1, Memphis at 12-1, James Madison at 12-1, San Diego State at 12-1, 10-3 Texas, 10-3 USC. Those are 7 of the 10 conferences. If they're imagine if that's how the conference championships played out. That would have been crazy.
Some people love
that would be crazy.
The world burn.
That's what I'm rooting for now. I want to see what they do because you know what they're going to do. Texas, SC, BYU, all in.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech, maybe it's not a brand school, and then they would go with probably Memphis. It's like San Diego State, 12-1, be left out. 12-1, James Madison left out.
I could see that happening.
I could totally see that happening. We got to get to our picks, though, for the week.
Yes, we do. We will do that very quickly right about...
All right, now, games tonight. Houston at UCF. It's the space game. The space game for UCF. They're 8 for 8 in space night games, whatever that means, where they wear the space uniforms because they're Space U. Playing the other Space U, Houston. Houston's favored by 1.5 at UCF tonight, 5 o'clock on Fox Sports 1.
I'm taking Houston. I think Houston is the better team overall. I'm going to take Houston on the road.
I'm taking UCF because they never lose on space night. You're right, though. Houston's better than UCF.
That's cool.
Not even close.
Game 2 tonight will be Tulane versus Memphis. Tigers favored by 3.5 points at home. This will be a 6 p.m. game on ESPN.
I'll take Memphis at home. If that game was in New Orleans, I would be taking Tulane, but I got Memphis tonight at 6 o'clock.
It's a game I think that could be tricky for Memphis. I'm going to take Tulane on this one.
It's a sneaky good game.
Yes, it is. That is a very good game. I'll take Tulane. Saturday, number 7, BYU at number 8, Texas Tech, 8-0 versus 8-1. Red Raiders are favored by 10.5. This will be the morning game on ABC.
I will take the Red Raiders. I can't believe they're favored by 10.5, to be honest with you. I thought they'd win by 10. I'll go with the Red Raiders by 10.5. BYU is good, but Texas Tech's defense is legit. BYU's only been down twice all season to teams. They roared back against Arizona, and they roared back in the other one. They've had a great season. It's different down in Lubbock. It's a hard place to play. They got college game day. Weird things happen in Lubbock, and BYU might learn that the hard way on Saturday. I'm going to take the Red Raiders.
I'm going to take BYU to cover, not win, but cover. Texas A&M, 6.5 point favorites on the road at number 22, Missouri. A&M currently 8-0. Mizzou is 6-2. This will be a 12:30 kick on ABC.
Trap game for Texas A&M. Also, by the way, it's November. You know what that means, Frank?
A&M never wins.
A&M starts come crashing down to earth. I'll take the Missouri Tigers.
I'm going to take A&M
plus
here.
6.5.
I'm going to take A&M. The number 9 Oregon Quackers taking on the number 20 Iowa Hawkeyes. Ducks 7-1. They are 6.5 point favorites in Iowa.
I got Oregon. Oregon's better than Iowa. I'll take the Ducks minus 6.5. By the way, we need Oregon to play Penn in basketball or something, so we can have the Quackers versus the Quakers. Yeah, we need that.
By the way, speaking of which, how about the Anaheim Quackers?
The Anaheim Ducks are legit.
Anaheim Quackers are playing really well.
7 goals in back-to-back games. They're the best team in the Pacific Division.
Yeah, one of them against reigning defending 2-time champions as well. Kansas Jayhawks on the road in Arizona taking on the Wildcats. Arizona 5.5-point favorites. This will be a 12:30 kick on ESPN 2.
What a great basketball game. Oh, wait, hold on. They're playing football?
Close.
It's not the McHale Center?
Close.
It's at Arizona Stadium instead?
Yes, it is.
Not as fun. I'm going to take the Wildcats, though. Bear down. You know why? It's homecoming weekend. Our boy Wilbur in the YouTube chat. He's the guy. Brenton, he's the guy. He's probably having a dirt burger right now, probably enjoying himself in Tucson, Arizona. Go with the Wildcats.
I'm going to take Arizona as well. The Iowa State Cyclones at your TCU Horny Toads. Horned Frogs favored by 7.5. They are 6-2 on the year. This will be a 12:30 kick on Fox, the Big Fox.
Frogs win. They don't cover. I'll take Iowa State plus 7.5.
I'm actually going to have faith in your school.
And my Horny Toads?
Yes.
Nice. I need a TCU win. I need a BYU cover to set up a really good game next weekend that I will be in attendance for at 8:15 in Provo.
There you go.
Can't overlook Iowa State, though.
To the ACC, Wake Forest Demon Deacons at the number 14 Virginia Cavaliers. Cavs are 8-1 on the season. They have a 6.5-point favorite. This will be at 4 p.m. on the ACC network.
Virginia's been in some pretty tight ball games, and Wake Forest had a decent win not too long ago. I'll take Virginia at home. No, you know what? No, I upset. This might be, since the matchups are a little boring this weekend, Frank. This might be the massive upset weekend. Or do you think the casualty weekend will happen later?
I'm going to trust Virginia here. If they win, it's going to be by 7.
I'm going to take Wake Forest to make it close. The Demon Deacons.
The LSU GEAUX Tigers will take on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Tide are 7-1. Tigers are 5-3. 10.5-point favorites. We don't have Skylar's picks in, but I will just write
Assume
Alabama
that she's
in.
picking the Crimson Tide. I'll take Alabama too. LSU's in disarray. They don't have a head coach anymore. I don't see them like going into Tuscaloosa and giving them a run for their money.
Yeah, no,
I'll take Alabama.
If Kelly were still there, I would say possibly cover the 10.5, but with
the spread wouldn't be 10.5 if he was still there.
That as well.
I want to go back and change my pick back to Virginia.
Okay.
I'm officially changing my pick back to Virginia.
That is allowed. We are allowed to do that.
I forgot that Wake Forest lost 42-7 to Florida State.
Oh, there you go. San Diego State, 6.5-point favorites at the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. 8 p.m. kickoff. Now, as we know, it'll be on the Mountain West Network, and it'll also be on ABC 10 here locally. You won't be able to stream it, but it will be on ABC 10.
I'll be with the Aztecs. They're going to win. They'll cover the 6.5 in Hawaii.
I will take San Diego State as
their defense
well.
is good. A defense like the Aztecs against a team like Hawaii that turns the ball over at will.
Yeah,
is a win for me for the Aztecs. We got a big game on Sunday, not just of the Aztecs basketball team in action on Sunday, but we have San Diego FC hosting Portland on Sunday. When we come back, Drake Hills will give us a preview for the winner-take-all Game 3 of the best-of-3 series between Portland and San Diego FC, the Timbers. I almost called them the Sounders, which would have been bad. That's Seattle. The Portland Timbers and San Diego FC on Sunday, MLS playoffs. We'll get you the preview when we come back. This hour 97 to the fans, poured by AleSmith Brewing. I said that yesterday. It's still great. Poured by AleSmith Brewing. I like when they get creative with this stuff. AleSmith is turning 30 with a tiki party. Wow. 1995, huh? Love it. Same age as AleSmith. Join the celebration this Saturday starting at 2 p.m. at the AleSmith Tasting Room in Miramar. Live music, silent disco, food trucks, slushies, special beer releases, and more. Don't miss the 30th anniversary party at AleSmith. Is that this just came to mind. Is I-5 getting shut down again over the weekend?
Why would it be shut down over the weekend?
It's been shut down like a couple of times the last couple of weekends. They're working on like a corridor of it.
I honestly don't know.
I gotta go look up Sandag now. I forget.
This is why, as I found out at the allergist yesterday, I'm allergic to pretty much everything outside. So I don't know.
You're allergic. Yeah, you're allergic to all nature.
Yeah, I am allergic to every single type of tree, grass, weed, mold, everything. I'm allergic to down feathers. I'm allergic to cats. I'm allergic to dogs.
I'm sorry, down feathers as opposed to up feathers? Is that a thing?
Yes.
There's different types of feathers?
Yeah, like
besides
down,
like birds?
like down feathers that would be in like a down comforter or a down pillow. Like that
That's
kind
above
of
my pay grade. It's a pillow and a comforter to me.
I did find out, though, my entire life has been a lie. Because I've said it multiple times on air here that I am allergic to peanuts. My food allergy yesterday did not trigger peanuts. So now I have to get blood work done, which is great. More needles. Love that. And then in a month, when I go back to the allergist, if those tests came back negative, then it's eat a peanut in the office and see what happens.
When he says office, he doesn't mean this office. He means
the doctor's office.
The doctor's office. Before we make it a bit, that would be terrible.
30 years of my life, I have gone turning away food because of the potential of it having peanuts in it.
Have you had an experience like that before? And
No, I actually heard the story for the first time, at least that I can remember. When I was 3 or 4, I got a rash all over my body with bumps and everything. My mom took me to the doctor, and they ran like a bunch of allergy tests to try to find what it was. And peanuts tripped the test. So I don't remember, my mom doesn't remember either, whether or not I had peanuts before it or not. But yeah. So they just peanuts tripped the test, and there's
a lot of foods now you can try that I said I make that you're like, no.
Yeah.
Like the fried chicken, the peanut oil, back in business, peanut butter M&Ms. I mean,
I know a couple people are going to yell at me now to go to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
That's going to be a
probably.
thing.
Probably. Frank's Eats a Peanut EpiPen segment
sponsored by Prize Picks.
See how long he lasts? That's terrible.
Whoa.
One foul. Foul on one.
Oh my God.
Foul on one.
He draws the foul.
That's a red card. Speaking of soccer.
I want the DraftKings. That's
No, that's what it was. Sponsored by Five Guys.
Sponsored by.
You can walk into a Five Guys now. That's actually not a bad play. Walk into the Five Guys, and if you fall down, then we're in trouble. But you know what? You might be able to survive. I mean, come on. I can't believe that one didn't trigger at all.
I was stunned too.
Nate, buy stock in Reese's now. I mean, Frank's going to just be his expansion of candy just blew through the roof.
My expansion of food in general.
Just don't go camping ever again. You learned today that you can't go camping, and now you can have a Reese's. That's kind of a great news. Great news on my part.
Brother said that like I go camping, period.
You probably can't go to Oregon.
No.
Or watch a game in Oregon. And we have a couple of ducks on the line. We'll get to Drake Hills first. Drake, what's going on? I know you're driving up to a wedding right now. Thanks again for joining us for our weekly hit on soccer. How's the drive?
Yeah, well, it was great until I started hearing you guys calling my Oregon Ducks quackers. I should have called the FCC immediately and snitched on you all for such
slander,
such disrespect, man. Just the quackers, really? I mean, I get it, Braden, like the horned toads. I understand it. You know, you're trying to build a variant. But the quackers, no. I'm not having it. I'm not having it.
So
Take it back right now.
You're not on board for the Oregon Penn college basketball game between the Quackers and the Quakers.
Nope, not having it. Although I will say the Palestra, I've been on campus. That is what basketball is like. That's in my blood. Like, infuse that culture and the way that it's built, that you could smell the wood from the 1940s. Like, that's what real basketball gyms should smell like and look like across the country. But nevertheless, sports is entertainment now. It's not even sports anymore. We're trying to LED screen the whole arena, which is whatever floats your boat.
Drake is on one today. He's throwing shots all over the place. Foul on us for the Quackers comment. He's talking about the of the gymnasiums out there in college basketball. Drake Hills joins us on the David P. Shapiro fan hotline. Let's talk about soccer. Let's talk about the MLS playoffs. San Diego FC, Portland, heartbreaker for San Diego FC. Last time out, they tried to overcome that again on Sunday as they will try to win and advance to the conference semifinals. What did you see out of San Diego FC in the final minutes of the game in Portland last weekend?
Yeah, I saw a lack of an opportunity, or I guess the lack of, I wouldn't say focus, but the urgency to try and make sure that what you've done all season, which is to provide a dagger moment, whether it be to continue to retain possession in the midst of that middle third, especially at advancing into the other team's half. It can mean a goal. It can mean constant clearances off the line. Paddy McNair, Chris McVeigh. This is what San Diego FC has done all season, and the reason why that they have posted the best road performance in Major League Soccer history. But unfortunately, there are some big caveats, right? The biggest is unfortunately in goal. CJ Dos Santos, only got 20 minutes from him before he fractures his cheekbone, which for any tough guys out there, I'm surprised he wasn't in tears, because I certainly would have. That's painful, but that's kind of what you sign up for as a goalkeeper. And so you're going to be, without him, I'm not quite sure what that is going to look like. Obviously, Pablo Cisniega, who has had MLS experience, namely with LAFC in Charlotte. This is a guy who's probably going to need to step up, as we saw last weekend. But as you saw at the end of this game, in game 2, a rookie is able to put Portland back into this game, and before you know it, it's in PKs. So I don't expect there to be that much drama in this game 3, outside of the fact that it is a decisive game 3. I do expect San Diego FC to take care of business because, as you all saw in the second half, Chucky Lozano is back.
We're talking with Drake Hills, who is a contributing writer for Black Players for Change, as well as ESPN.com, as we have playoff soccer going on in the MLS. San Diego FC and Portland will resume on Sunday for their best-of-3 series. Let's talk about the rest of the MLS. Anything that stood out to you in the Western Conference so far in the playoffs?
Well, I will say that I didn't expect things to be so streamlined for LAFC. I did pick them to advance, obviously, as we started this whole playoff push. But, the way that they pretty much dominated Austin FC over the 2 games, I think it's going to be interesting to see, is this a question of, is LAFC back to the playoff team that they were at before? Obviously, they're going to go up against a very talented Vancouver side. I think the rest of the Western Conference is, pretty much what I expected. I do think that Minnesota will be able to handle Seattle now that I've seen them play 2 games apiece. But I think Minnesota is going to have to double down, because we saw what happened in game 1 when Seattle should have won game 1 at Minnesota. So going back to Minnesota for game 3, that's probably the game I'm going to be looking at. But I also want to shout out the game 3 on the Eastern side between Miami and Nashville. When it was my time to leave Nashville and remove myself from the post of covering Nashville SC as a beat writer for USA Today, that was that year when Messi came into MLS. And we all know what happened during the Leagues Cup final in 2023. So that's what that game kind of reminisces to me. So I'm looking forward to that one as well.
Got about a minute left, Drake, and we'll talk about the some of the awards that have been handed out for the MLS season next week. But what are the biggest takeaways with a minute left to go here for San Diego FC to win on Sunday against Portland?
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway is Chucky Lozano. He's able to get into the game in game 2. Obviously, he and Anders Dreyer, the newcomer of the year, and in the MLS Best 11, which is like your Golden Glove or your NFL All-Pro. So that's of high importance. But you got to use those 2 to take care of business here, because Minnesota or Seattle is no slouch either.
Drake, I appreciate the time as always. Safe travels this weekend. Have a good time. And I'll actually see you tomorrow. We got USD men's soccer tomorrow on the call on ESPN Plus. So I look forward to hearing about your night tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, USD against the Zags. But, of course, I'll be coming to the press box with a win from my Oregon Ducks over the Hawkeyes.
That's a big
Go
game.
Ducks, baby.
Drake, we appreciate the phone call and in the interview always. That's Drake Hills. Real quick, from one Oregon Duck to the next. Derek La Mesa, we only got a little bit of time left. What do you got for us? You upset about the Quackers?
Nah, not at all. I just I feel like I missed Frankie's pick on the Iowa-Oregon game because I want to offer him something. Okay, I must have missed that. So, okay.
All right. He was ready to make a wager with you, Frank. Derek, we got to get going. We appreciate you calling in. You got to come pick up your shirt, buddy. We'll talk to you guys next week. Monday is the press conference with Craig Stammen becoming the manager of the San Diego Padres. Tuesday, we're off. Should be an interesting week next week. Quinn and Chris coming up next. Talk to you guys on Monday.